Chapter 2137 God, Art 1 Region. Chapter 2137 God, Art 1 Region. The void was boundless and endless. The universe had countless void realms. Once your cultivation level reached a certain level, you could tear a void realm to enter another one. The void of a realm was endless. If you controlled the entire void of this realm, you controlled the realm. Yemo thought and suddenly grabbed with his hand. The space before him turned into a region of void. This region of void was far from a realm and was far from forming one, but this region of void was in his control. Yemo let go and stood up with his hands behind his back. He didn't try again. The region of void he grabbed was different to domain. If his opponent was in his region of void, then the opponent's domain and cultivation method would be completely separated. In that region of void, he was the master. He could kill his opponents before he could react. If he controlled this region of void before, the Tao actualization divine emperor tertiary stage wouldn't be able to escape at all. Great primordial god Rune could indeed ignore space-time, but Yemo couldn't do that yet. His great primordial god Rune needed to go around defense magic artifact to attack his opponents. That way, Yemo couldn't release even 1% of the true power of the great primordial god Rune. If he controlled one region of void, he could emulate the quality of the great primordial god Rune, ignoring space. Yemo wasn't too happy that he learned one region of void. Due to his limited cultivation level, he could only grab a limited amount of void space. Even if the space increased, it was another question if he could even envelope his opponent in this space. The main thing was that in his golden page world, opening up this region of void was extremely taxing on God essence and spirit sense. If it was the outside world, Yemo even suspected if he would be able to do it quickly. The golden page world was his world, but the outside world wasn't his world. If he used one region of void, could he even have the effort to use other god arts to kill his opponent? Yemo came up to the space-time boat immediately. Brother Yi, you're out of solitary cultivation. Qingru asked. Wait, Yemo left the boat and grabbed in the void. The vast void seemed to have paused under Yemo's grab, and this region of space that was different to other regions appeared before Yemo. This space completely belonged to Yemo. He could do anything he wanted in that dimension, even though it was just for a brief moment. In just 3 seconds, Yemo let go. His face was pale. He learned how to grab out his own realm in the void, but his cultivation level was far from keeping up with his learnings. I'll call it one region. This mean can only be used as a final lethal blow. Yemo sighed. To Yemo, if he could just trap the enemy in a world he grabbed for just 1 second, it would be enough. Qingru, how long did I spend in recovery and solitary cultivation? Yemo came back to the space-time boat. Before Qingru could reply, Shadowless said, for years. During this time, I've been controlling the boat. My speed now is definitely fast, boss. Shadowless was scared of Yemo taking his control of the boat and said, regardless, Yemo didn't let Shadowless keep controlling the boat. When he took over, they were many times faster. Small Ginseng said, seriously, Shadowless, your speed of control is definitely fast. Shadowless saw that compared to Yemo's speed, his speed was a turtle, but he still replied, I was planning to accelerate, but boss finished solitary cultivation early. Yemo wasted a few years in the void due to the void pirates, but didn't affect him much. He got 7 storage ring, and Little Blue got stronger. He also learned Void God, Art 1 Region. Yemo collected nearly 200 million top-grade God crystals. In total, he had 300 million God crystals. On top of that, there was 2 middle-grade God Spirit ranges and countless materials and God Spirit herbs. Another decade later, Mu Xiaoyan had divine damnation and reached Immortal Emperor and stopped cultivation. She left the Golden Page world and came on the space-time boat. Fu Fei stopped too. The line on the location disc was getting clearer and clearer. Clearly, The void marketplace was getting closer and closer. Yi Emo spoke with them as he controlled the ship. A huge black figure that had a diameter of 1,000 kilometers appeared before Yi Emo. There were tens of huge ships stopped next to it. Is this the void marketplace? Yi Emo subconsciously slowed the space-time boat and asked in disbelief. But immediately he realized he was wrong. This wasn't the void marketplace. Dong and said that the void marketplace was a continent. This was a moving ship castle in the void. This is probably a trading station on the way to the void marketplace. The ships on the side are probably from the different races. Qing Ru said. Yi Emo nodded. That's probably it. Shadowless, you guys go in first. When they went in, Yi Emo slowly approached this huge ship castle. There were city walls and a huge gate. When Yi Emo got close, he saw that the castle was actually a huge asteroid that was locked in space by formation. At the top were the words Shadow Void Castle. Stop. Everyone who wants to go in has to pay 10K top grade god crystals. An immortal monarch at the gate looked strangely at the group. He had seen many people who flew here alone, but he felt that this group's power really wasn't enough to travel the void. He couldn't see through their power levels, but Fu Fei and Mu Xiaoyan were at most immortal emperor. Yi Emo definitely wasn't Dao Essence, Divine Emperor. Even if Yi Emo was Dao Actualization Divine Emperor, it was way too risky to be traveling in the void with them. Yi Emo took out 40K god crystals and asked, "May I ask if this castle is a midway stop to the void marketplace?" Yes, the people who come here can participate in auctions and buy complete void location maps, as well as other things, for example, the language, jade slips of other races. You can also hire people from here to protect you to the void marketplace. Of course, that is very pricey. The immortal monarch said, just as he had thought. Yi Emo thanked and took the three into the castle. The castle area wasn't huge. Many immortal cities were much larger than this. Shops were closely linked together. Clearly, land was very expensive here. There were all sorts of people walking in the not-so-spacious streets. Some of them didn't have human faces. Yi Emo went to the nearby shop and bought the language jade slips of all the races before finding an immortal rest tower. Brother Yi, just when Yi Emo came in, a voice called out in surprise and joy. Yi Emo recognized this person. It was Xian Yuxiue, the wine lover he saw at the harbor. So, it's brother Xian Yu. Yi Emo saluted with his fists and saw this place was seated full. Brother Yi, why don't you come sit over with me? 2 of my friends just went out. It will be a while before they come. Xian Yuxiue said. Yi Emo saw there were many spots on Xian Yuxiue's table. Even if 4 more people came, it would fit. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2138 Hal. Chapter 2138 Hal. Brother Yi. Only someone like you can cross the void alone. Many people at the ship harbor thought Brother Yi was naive, but only I knew, brother, you would definitely be able to make it. There are individual ships heading to the void marketplace from here. Even if, brother, you don't fly yourself, you can take the ship from here. Xian Yuxiue said. Yi Emo smiled. I don't have tickets. If I had tickets, who would want to travel the void alone? Did you just get here? Yi Emo said that, but he didn't regret going the void himself. He collected the yellow middle plum. He wasted 4 to 5 years on journey. Why was Xian Yuxiue still at the castle? Xian Yuxiue sighed. It's a long story. Our ship has been here for nearly a year, and it's about to leave, but due to some things happening on the way, we wasted a few years' time. Did you encounter void pirates too? Fu Fei asked. We didn't encounter void pirates. They rarely attack large ships. After all, the difference in power was too big. Of course, there were a few very strong pirates that would attack large ships. They have their own ships too. Our ship encountered asteroid flow, and the ship was damaged. It's now stopped at the Shadow Void Castle for repair. Xian Yushua said, there are rarely any solo flying magic artifacts that don't encounter void pirates on the way to the void marketplace. It's very lucky that brother Yi didn't encounter void pirates. Xian Yushua said, he thought that although Yi Mo was strong, he wouldn't be able to face off against pirates and be safe. Yi Mo looked at Xian Yushua and asked Brother Xianyu, how do you know that I didn't encounter void pirates? And why do you say that rarely do people not encounter void pirates if they go alone? The void is that vast while the pirates are just minority. Xian Yushua sighed. Brother Yi, you don't know that the routes to the void marketplace are pretty much the same. Void pirates have their own scanning formation disk. These formation disks are very expensive. An expensive one would cost more than 1 billion god crystals. Even a cheap one would cost nearly 100 million. So that's it. Yi Mo understood. It seemed that purple flying magic artifact was probably scanned while he ran into the void pirates on his own accord. If Brother Yi encountered void pirates, you wouldn't have it so easy. The weakest would have 6 to 7 people, and at least 3 Dao actualization divine emperors. Brother, you didn't fear fighting one-on-one battles, but they have strength in numbers, and they often fought in the void. Their power and experience is extraordinary. Xian Yushua said. Yi Mo nodded and agreed. Those pirates were both experienced in fighting and running. Just when Yi Mo wanted to ask Xian Yushua about the castle, a man and woman rushed over. One was a Dao molding divine emperor woman. She had a few dark marks on her face. Clearly she was slapped. The man was a Dao nourishment divine emperor. Even if a Dao molding divine emperor's face split open, it would instantly recover, but her mark remained on her face. Immortal friend Gu, immortal friend Xian, what happened? Xian Yushua got up immediately. This Dao nourishment divine emperor came up to Xian Yushua and said in a quiet voice, we saw a stall on the side. There were 6 heart refining immortal herbs. Immortal friend being agreed with the stall owner to use a fist-sized lightning fire treasure sand to exchange for the herb, but she meant to trade all 6. Lightning fire treasure sand! Yi Mo asked in shock. This was definitely something good. It was a level 12 immortal material. Its main purpose was for forgery. If he could fuse a lightning fire treasure sand, it would be perfect. It could allow Zisu to reach middle grade god artifact, at least. A fist-sized one was enough to trade for even 16 herbs, not just 6. But Yi Mo could understand what the female immortal thought. The heart-refining immortal herb was an important god spirit herb that Dao molding divine emperor needed. It could be concocted into heart-refining pill that had immeasurable benefits for reaching Dao nourishment divine emperor. But that was if it was made into the pill. If not, it had no value. Turning the herb into the pill was no easier than reaching Dao nourishment divine emperor. Only Dao nourishment pill divines could concoct heart-refining pill. Even Yi Mo couldn't promise he could do it now. The Dao nourishment divine emperor didn't notice Yi Mo at first, but when Yi Mo spoke, he recognized Yi Mo. He said in shock, Xian Yushua smiled. Immortal friend Xian is right, brother. You came to the castle alone on his magic artifact. Then he pointed at the 2 divine emperors and said to Yi Mo, Gu, Bing, Xianjua, and I came from the ship together. The 2 had released that Yi Mo was not an immortal emperor now. The 2 immediately bowed to Yi Mo. No matter how high their status was in the divine Dao realm, they were at the bottom of the food chain in the Shadow Void Castle. It was good to know a powerful being like Yi Mo. Yi Mo returned to gesture and asked 2 immortal friends, I heard you talk about lightning fire treasure sand. Did you trade it already? Gu Being answered, that stall owner is extremely shameless. He threw me a heart-refining immortal herb and wanted to use one to trade my lightning fire sand. I said I wasn't going to exchange for one, but that person slapped me. He was Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Power, and I couldn't dodge it. Immortal friend Xian quickly pulled me away. Luckily, I didn't give the lightning fire sand to him. At that moment, another Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Qian Bei came to his stall to ask, so he fled here. Yemo saw this Gu being was rather pretty and wore a pink immortal robe. Her face was very white, but there was a few black marks on it now. Xian Yushua quickly said, "We should go quickly. I'm certain that person will chase here." "Humph. You took my heart, refining herb, but you didn't give me your thing, and you want to run? Do you think you can get away? I don't believe such evil people like you exist in the Shadow Void Castle." A cold voice spoke, and a gray figure walked in. Gu Being shivered and subconsciously said, "I didn't take your herb plus. I wasn't going to trade one." There were restrictions everywhere. When this person came in, Yemo saw who it was. He was one of the Void Pirates who fled first. However, Gu Being was confused. That Tao Actualization Divine Emperor had a sliver of fear flash across his eyes and was about to leave. Yemo sneered, "Stop." This Tao Actualization Divine Emperor clearly recognized Yemo. His first reaction was to use mobility technique and get as far away as possible. Yemo appeared here, meaning that his partners were definitely gone. But then he thought that this was the Shadow Void Castle. Here, no matter how bold Yemo was, he wouldn't dare to do anything. If he fled out of the castle, he would be in danger. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2139 Song Su Dao Exchange Social. Chapter 2139 Song Su Dao Exchange Social. He walked up to Yemo nervously and saluted with his fists. "Qian Bei." I didn't offend Qian Bei. Not only did I not attack Qian Bei with full power, but I was also the first to leave. Plus, I'm not a part of the Flying Void. Yemo knew he couldn't kill this guy here, and Yemo wasn't desperate to kill this guy. He wanted to kill that skinny Tao Actualization Divine Emperor the most. What is that skinny Tao Actualization Divine Emperor primary stage called? Where is his home? Yemo asked coldly. He's called Hao Junfeng. No one knows where he lives. We just gather at the Void Marketplace periodically. The long-haired Tao Actualization Divine Emperor answered Yemo's question without hesitation. Clearly, he didn't plan to go back to the original Pria team. Yemo was a bit disappointed, but he knew this Tao Actualization Divine Emperor wasn't lying to him. "Qian Bei, if there's nothing else, Wan Bei will be leaving." This Tao Actualization Divine Emperor said carefully. Yemo sneered, "You offended my friend as soon as you came here and slapped her. Do you think I will let you go so easily?" Hearing Yemo's tone get fierce again, the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor quickly explained, "Qian Bei. Wan Bei really didn't know he was Qian Bei's friend. If I did, I would never." Yemo waved his hand, "Bring out the culprit for this incident and leave." Yes. This Tao Actualization Divine Emperor quickly took out 6 refined heart herbs and left, not daring to say anything. Qing Ru sneered. This guy said he gave one to Sister Being, but now he took out 6. Mu Xiaoyan smiled and said he finally took it out himself. While they were talking, Xian Yushua and them were completely dumbfounded. A Tao Actualization Divine Emperor calling Yemo a Qian Bei. Was Yemo a Tao Essence Divine Emperor? Although Tao Essence Divine Emperor wasn't rare at the Shadow Void Castle, but in the Divine Tao realm, there are very few Tao Essence Divine Emperor. "Yi Qian Bei," Xianjua called out. Clearly, he thought Yemo was a Tao Essence Divine Emperor. Otherwise, how could a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor call him Qian Bei? Yemo quickly waved his hand. "Our cultivation level is about the same. No need to call Qian Bei." Xian Yushua sighed. "I was wondering why that guy was so scared of Brother Yi. He probably suffered in your hands, right? Yi Emo nodded. That's right. This guy is a void priot. I was stopped by a group a decade ago. He was one of them. Brother, you encountered void pirates? Xian Yushua asked in shock. His voice was so big that the surrounding people all heard. Yi Emo waved up a few sound barrier restrictions and said, that's right. There was 11 of them. I killed 7 and 4 ran away. This guy was one of the 4. Hearing this, Xian Yushua took in a cold breath. Yi Emo was ganged up on by 11 divine emperors and still killed 7. What cultivation level was this? This was too scary. Yi Emo didn't explain the specifics and wanted to ask Gu Being about the lightning fire treasure sand. Gu Being bowed and thanked. Thank you, Brother Yi, for helping. Yi Emo quickly said, this is no big deal. I heard a mortal friend, Gu, has a lightning fire treasure sand. That's useful to me. Before Yi Emo finished, she took out a blue or to Yi Emo. Brother, Yi, I have no need for this. You can have it. Seeing this, Yi Emo took it and took out the 6 herbs. However, he didn't give it to her and said, Immortal friend, Gu carrot, know you want these herbs, but if they aren't made into refined heart pill, their use is very limited. Gu Being said dejectedly, I know, but it's too hard to find a Tao nourishment pill divine who can make it. Yi Emo said, I took your lightning fire sand, so these 6 herbs belong to you. If immortal friend Gu trusts me, let me keep them for now. Tomorrow, I will give you a refined heart pill. Gu Being immediately looked at Yi Emo in shock and asked, Brother Yi, is a Tao nourishment pill divine? Yi Emo was definitely a Tao molding pill divine, and he could reach Tao nourishment pill divine easily. He just got large amounts of God's spirit, herbs, recently. Yi Emo nodded, that's right, I am. Gu Being didn't doubt this at all, and quickly said, of course I'm willing. Even if Brother Yi just gives me 2 pills, I'm willing. Okay, in that case, we'll gather here tomorrow. Yi Emo saluted with his fists and said, Is Brother Yi leaving now? Xian Yushua asked, I want to find a place to rest for 2 days and see if there's anything good at the castle. Yi Emo said. Xian Yushua quickly said, Brother Yi, if you want to find good things, I suggest you go to the Songsu Dao Exchange Social. Songsu Dao Exchange Social? Yi Emo asked in confusion. Xian Yushua nodded, that's right. It's a place for exchange divine Dao spirit items. It happens once every half a month. Today is the day. There are wealthy divine emperors from all races. They come here to exchange what they need. However, there's one thing. Where is it? What thing? Yi Emo immediately knew this was where he wanted to go. It's 10 kilometers down this alley, but it's not cheap to go in. Every person needs to pay 300k top-grade God crystals to go in each time. Xian Yushua answered. Yi Emo sighed. It's a very high price, but this was bearable to him. He planned to let Mu Xiaoyun and them go in. He didn't want to save that little bit of God crystals. Husband, are you going there now? Mu Xiaoyun asked worriedly. Yi Emo quickly said, I'll take you guys in as well to broaden your views. Xian Yushua said too, since Brother Yi is going, I'll go with you too. Immortal friend Gu and Xian, why don't you all come? To be able to go with a master and a pill divine like Yi Emo, of course the 2 were willing. They immediately said, of course we're willing. In that case, we'll go there for a spin. Maybe we'll get something good. Yi Emo said, and then took out a pill to Gu Being, Immortal friend Gu. This is a poison remedy God pill. After you use it, the poison mark on your face will disappear quickly. Thank you, Brother Yi, Gu Being said. The Songsu Dao Exchange Social was very famous at the castle. Those who came to the castle pretty much all went to the Songsu Dao Exchange Social. You could get anything you wanted here as long as you had good things too. The group of 7 stood before the Songsu Dao Exchange Social. The door wasn't big, but there was an immortal emperor who was almost falling asleep, sitting at the door. Before Yi Mo spoke, Xian Yushua passed a storage bed. The immortal emperor took it and nodded, "Okay. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible." Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2140, Nothing That He Don't Want. Chapter 2140, Nothing That He Don't Want. The group walked in from the small door, but found the inside was very luxurious. It was extremely spacious, and every seat was extravagantly decorated. People could enjoy all sorts of top immortal fruits, teas, and wines. Every seat had a human-like puppet that served you. Yi Mo and them came in rather early, and the social hasn't begun. There were just a few Tao molding divine emperor and Tao nourishment divine emperors. When Yi Mo and them sat down, a few puppets already poured them wine and brought fruits over. Despite Qing Ru being only a mortal monarch, no one felt strange. At this place, you could come in as long as you had god crystals. Xian Yushua came to the castle early, so he knew more people than Yi Mo did. He introduced the rules at the social. Usually, don't fight with stronger people over items if it wasn't something important. After the deal is done, you could not regret. As they spoke, more and more people came in. When an old man and a man shrouded in black chi came in, no one spoke here. Even Yi Mo Undersur's eyes narrowed. These two were definitely Tao Essence Divine Emperor. Their chi was too powerful. More and more strong people came. Yi Mo even saw 6 Tao Essence Divine Emperors, much less Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Other than those two, there was a middle-aged man who emitted this cold chi appeared. Yi Mo guessed this person came from the abyssal realm, but he knew he didn't have the right to talk to such person. A seductive woman who was almost on par with Qing Ru came in. Yi Mo guessed she was a Tao Essence Divine Emperor too. The only difference between Qing Ru is that Qing Ru looked extremely pure. This woman came in and immediately saw Qing Ru. She exclaimed, "Such a pretty human female." But she just said that and found a place to sit down. Xian Yueshue and them didn't dare to say a thing. Many divine emperors came in and used masks to mask their chi. Yi Mo was helpless. He didn't have some mask to change his face. Plus, he brought Qing Ru and them here. Seeing all these powerful beings here, Yi Mo had decided to not buy anything unless there was something he really needed. An hour later, 80% of the seats here were filled. At this moment, the door of the Tsangsu Tao Exchange social closed. A Tao Essence Divine Emperor woman got up and said, "Welcome everyone to the Tsangsu Tao Exchange Social. The social begins now. You may leave halfway, but you won't be able to come back in again." A Tao Actualization Divine Emperor who wore black hair tie got up and saluted with his fists before taking out a 30 centimeters fist-thick black staff. "Broken Lotus Demon Candle. I'm willing to trade for middle-grade Flying God artifact or armor. If there's anything better, I'm willing to add in more." Yi Mo knew this was a level 12 immortal material. It was material for forging top grade or even extreme grade God artifact. It was suitable for demon race divine emperors. After a few seconds, no one spoke. The candle was good and was worth a middle-grade god artifact, but forgery grandmasters and pill concoction grandmasters were rare anywhere. What was rare here wasn't the top materials, but the people who could turn them into top-grade god artifacts. Yi Mo wasn't planning to trade it, but seeing no one was willing to bid, he was interested. He had no middle-grade flying god artifact, but he had a middle-grade god artifact armor. He got it from the Void Pirates. He also got 2 more low-grade flying god artifacts from them. Compared to the armor, he liked the low-grade flying god artifacts better. He was immortal god body peak stage, and armor wasn't very helpful to him. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor was disappointed and about to put the candle away when Yi Mo said, "I have a middle-grade god artifact armor. Have a look, immortal friend." Yi Mo handed the armor to the puppet next to him. The puppet brought the armor up to the Divine Emperor. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor opened the armor and frowned, but moments later, he still gave the candle to the puppet. "I'll trade." Yi Mo rejoiced. He knew why the Tao Actualization Divine Emperor frowned. This middle-grade god artifact was a bit broken and would cost some god crystals to repair. If he couldn't find a forgery divine, he would just have to wear it like that. In the higher realms, forgery divines were separated based on their ability to forge god artifact. If one could forge low-grade god artifact, then he was low-grade forgery divine. If he could forge extreme-grade god artifact, then he was extreme-grade forgery divine. Yi Mo's three-birth chant was very powerful, and he learned pill concoction and forgery countless times faster than others. However, he got limited materials, so even now he was still only top-grade forgery divine. The next item was 7-colored god water. It was a precious god spirit item. Even if it wasn't concocted into a pill, it could help with learning Tao and was beneficial even to Tao Essence Divine Emperor. Yi Mo already exchanged for an item and didn't want to stand out too much. So despite wanting the water a lot, he resisted the urge to bid. This thing was much more popular than the candle, and many people started bidding for it. Soon, it was bought by a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor with 10 million god crystals and a material Yi Mo really wanted. Third thing was Shining Sun Mist Steel. Another thing Yi Mo wanted, but a Tao Essence Divine Emperor wanted it. Fourth thing, Haran Lightwave Lu. Also something Yi Mo wanted, but 2 Tao Essence Divine Emperors were fighting over it. Fifth, sixth, Yi Mo found in shock that everything that appeared here was something he desperately wanted. However, he had to give up facing these powerful beings. When the 7th-thing 9-star bamboo came out, Yi Mo couldn't resist anymore. This could be used to concoct Tao Star Pill. It was a necessity for Mu Shaoyan, who cultivated primordial chaos chant. Mu Shaoyan was about to vindicate Tao. With the Tao Star Pill, she would definitely succeed. Yi Mo had made up his mind to get this. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2141, Over the Top, Bold Immortal Emperor. Chapter 2141, Over the Top, Bold Immortal Emperor. Yi Mo knew that other immortal emperors could also use the pill to vindicate Tao, but for the people cultivating primordial chaos chant, it was more beneficial. Primordial chaos chant was a cultivation method derived based on stars and the cosmos. The bamboo grew in the void with starlight. It was very precious. Other than the 9-star bamboo, there was also a divine Tao spirit item that formed in the cosmos called Cosmic Lotus. This was countless times more precious than the 9-star bamboo, as it was a Tao fruit for reaching Tao Essence Divine Emperor. In terms of value, it was on par with yellow middle plum, and sometimes even more precious. This wasn't to say that there was less Cosmic Lotus than yellow middle plum. There was much more Cosmic Lotus than yellow middle plum, but there was only one yellow middle plum tree. It was a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor woman who took out the bamboo. I've already said the use of this bamboo for Tao molding. I just want to exchange for a Tao fruit or an extreme grade defense god artifact. If you don't have any of these, take out something I would be happy with. God crystals is the last choice. Hearing this, Yi Mo sighed. He had no extreme grade defense god artifact. He had Tao fruit. Yellow middle plum was Tao fruit too, but it was far superior than ordinary Tao fruit. Yi Mo didn't want to take out something this good, other than yellow middle plum. He had great primordial god rune Tao fruit. The great primordial god rune Tao fruit was mainly for learning great primordial god rune, but as long as it was Tao fruit, it would be very useful to divine emperors. I'm willing to use a top-grade attack god artifact. heaven earth green robe, and 20 million God crystals to buy your bamboo. A Tao actualization divine emperor bidded. Yi Mo knew another benefit of the 9-step bamboo was to help divine emperor learn cosmic God art. This was even useful to Tao essence divine emperor. There was only one 9-star bamboo. Yi Mo didn't want to miss it no matter which use it was for. I'm willing to buy with a really God wind fruit. Another voice said before Yi Mo. It was a top God spirit fruit and can barely be counted as Tao fruit. It could help people learn wind element law God art. In the divine Tao realm, the spirit herbs that could be used to make God pill were called God spirit herbs. However, they weren't divided as strictly as the immortal spirit herb in the immortal realm. They were just divided based on the God pills they could be used to concoct. Low grade, middle grade, top grade, and extreme grade. Most God spirit herb would be higher level than immortal spirit herb, but this wasn't definite. There are gradless immortal spirit herbs that are worth even more than Tao fruits. These ones are called fake chaos immortal spirit herb. These included chaos blue reed, clear spirit heart lotus, luo shao wu wood, death Tao fruit. I'm willing to use a great primordial God rune Tao fruit to trade for the 9-star bamboo. Yi Mo quickly bidded. The woman's eyes lit up. Clearly, Yi Mo's bid was extremely close to her ideal bid. The great primordial God rune Tao fruit was mainly for learning the great primordial God rune, but it was also extremely helpful in learning space and time law. Space and time law wasn't something ordinary 5-element law could compare with. The woman looked around to see if there was a higher bid. The Tao actualization divine emperor, who bid Li God wind fruit, sneered at Yi Mo. He could tell that Yi Mo was more than a mortal emperor, but there was no way he was Tao actualization divine emperor. How dare he contest the 9-star bamboo with him? The man who was circulated with black chi heard the bid and frowned. Clearly, the bid he wanted to make was lower than Yi Mo's. Yi Mo didn't care about others, but when that dark chi man frowned, Yi Mo's heart sunk. This man was quite possibly a demon race, Tao essence, demon divine. What should he do if this demon wanted to contest the bamboo with him? The woman saw the Tao essence divine emperor frown, and quickly said before the demon primordial essence divine emperor could speak, "Okay, I agree to trade the 9-star bamboo with a great primordial God rune Tao fruit." Then she put the bamboo in the hands of the puppet. Yi Mo also put the great primordial God rune Tao fruit in the hands of the puppet. In just a few seconds, the exchange was over. Yi Mo put away the bamboo and breathed easy. 19th, I'll use this half-extreme grade attack god artifact to trade for your 9-star bamboo, as well as 10 million top grade god crystals. The Tao essence divine emperor demon said. He was a little unhappy. He believed everyone had seen his expression and knew he wanted the 9-star bamboo, but this little immortal emperor dared to take it. An ordinary immortal emperor should come up and ask if he wanted the bamboo, not just put it away. Yi Mo sneered. So what if this guy was a Tao essence demon divine? This was the Shadow Void Castle. Even if he left here, this guy might not be able to catch up to him. Everyone called each other a mortal friend here, but this guy just called him 19. That's his seat number was 19th. He was very annoyed, but he knew he had to answer. Otherwise, he was disrespecting the strong. Sorry, I don't intend to trade my 9-star bamboo. Yi Mo saluted with his fists. He didn't call Qian Bei nor a mortal friend. Yi Mo's words made everyone daze. Usually, when a Tao essence divine emperor spoke, even if Yi Mo was a Tao actualization divine emperor, he couldn't speak to a Tao essence divine emperor like this. The best thing for Yi Mo to do was to agree to this Tao essence divine emperor. If it was someone smart, they wouldn't even take the 10 million god crystals, but Yi Mo didn't agree to trade at all. Even the female Tao essence divine emperor who managed this place glanced at Yi Mo in shock. The dark mist around the demon's face went cold as he sneered at Yi Mo and glanced at Qingru and Mu Shaoyan. I hope you can hold on to the bamboo long enough till it's warm. You brought these 2 women, right? Very well. The sneer carried a powerful space-lethal force as it fell on Yi Mo's spirit sense. Yi Mo felt his sea of consciousness shiver. He immediately smashed out spirit sense blades and annihilated this lethal force. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor glanced at Yi Mo in surprise. He could tell Yi Mo was no immortal emperor, but the power of Yi Mo's spirit sense was far beyond his control. Yi Mo's character was that he would try to forbear before things went completely bad. Now that the demon not only threatened him, but also Mu Shaoyan, how could Yi Mo tolerate this? He suddenly got up. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2142, What to Do Now. Chapter 2142, What to Do Now. Yi Mo got up and saluted with his fists to the Tao Essence Divine Emperor managing the social, Tao Exchange Social Qianbei. I came here to do deal, but someone publicly ambushed me and threatened me. May I ask if this is allowed by the Tao Exchange Social? If it is, then I'll take it. If not, then please uphold justice. Yi Mo's words was like a pebble falling in a clear lake. An immortal emperor was warned by a Tao Essence Divine Emperor, but now stood out asking for justice? What was this other than asking to die? Yi Mo wasn't asking to die. He knew that even if he didn't say these things, the Tao Essence Divine Emperor wouldn't let him go. In that case, why should he be scared? Plus, this guy touched his bottom line by speaking about Shaoyan. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor woman glanced at Yi Mo in shock, but then said coldly to the Tao Essence Divine Emperor, if you dare to threaten a guest of the Tsangsu Tao Exchange Social again, you'll never come in again. Hearing this, the Demon Divine's eyes went to a new extreme cold. He stared at Yi Mo and said nothing. The female Tao Essence Divine Emperor's words were harsh, but when the Demon Divine said nothing, she didn't do anything. If it wasn't that Yi Mo's words involved the reputation of the Tao Exchange Social, she wouldn't even speak. The trouble seemed to have calmed down, but everyone knew this was only temporary. If Yi Mo left the social, that would be when he was over. One couldn't kill in the castle, but if a Tao Essence Divine Emperor slapped you a few times and took away your power, the castle wouldn't come say anything. This was if you were still in the castle. If you left, the Tao Essence Divine Emperor would immediately kill you. The seductive woman, who was almost on par with Qing Ru, took out a jade box. Before she spoke, light flower out of the jade box. Yi Mo was immediately interested in this. It was a top-grade forgery material called falling silver ice. It was a great thing for forging flying god artifact. Immortal materials were different to immortal spirit herb. There was no god materials. Even if the material could be used to forge god artifact, it was only called immortal material but had a very high level. Immortal materials over level 10 were the extreme grade immortal materials. Theoretically, the best immortal material was level 13. Level 12 and above could be used to make extreme grade god artifact, but there were very few extreme grade forgery divine. So most people thought only level 13 immortal materials could be used to forge extreme grade god artifact. There was a huge difference between different level 13 immortal materials, but no one categorized it into level 14. Those materials beyond level 13 were prenatal artifact. Even if it didn't become a prenatal artifact, it was a prenatal material. I want to use this falling silver ice to exchange Heaven Luo Metal Essence and a 5-element magic artifact. I don't care about the level of the magic artifact. If you can take out both items, I can add some god crystals. This woman said, and Yi Mo was very excited. This was perfectly designed for him. He had both of these things. The falling silver ice was very important to him. He offended a Tao Essence Divine Emperor. If he wanted to run, he would need flying magic artifact. Upgrading his space-time boat to extreme-grade flying god artifact was more important to him than anything. Yi Mo's spirit sense fell onto his 3 pieces of heaven luo metal essence. Yi Mo picked the smallest segment and moved it into his storage ring. Even though with his current power, not even Tao Essence Divine Emperor could see him taking things out from the Golden Page world, he still felt it was better to be careful. I'll use a Wu Xiang secret gold and a 5-element abstruse moon whip to trade for it. The demon primordial essence Divine Emperor said. Everyone soon realized that the Tao Essence Divine Emperor was probably scared of Yi Mo running away and wanted to simply fuse the falling silver ice into his flying magic artifact to make it a little faster. A Tao Essence Divine Emperor went to this extreme to catch an immortal emperor. One could see how much he hated Yi Mo. Each of these old bastards had countless god things in their storage ring. When Yi Mo set up the Sealing Realm formation, Wuxiang's secret silver was something he had dreamed for, but this bastard took it out so easily. As soon as this Tao Essence Divine Emperor made his bid, those Tao Actualization Divine Emperors who wanted the falling silver ice stopped their bid. They didn't want to be hated by a demon Tao Essence Divine Emperor like Yi Mo, a piece of heaven luo essence metal chain, and a 5-element abstruse yellow ring. I don't need you to pay me god crystals. Yi Mo put these 2 things on the table and looked at the seductive Tao Essence Divine Emperor. Everyone could tell that Yi Mo and the demon Tao Essence Divine Emperor were becoming wary of each other. It was a miracle, however, that Yi Mo took out the things that seductive Tao Essence Divine Emperor wanted, while Yi Mo was wanting other people's things. Far more than just the demon Tao Essence Divine Emperor was after Yi Mo. Yi Mo was a mere immortal emperor and had only been at the social for this short of a time. Yet he took out this many good things. Regardless if Yi Mo hid his power, he definitely had a lot of good things. Seeing Yi Mo bid again, the demon Tao Essence Divine Emperor's face went even darker. Killing intent circulated around him. If this wasn't the exchange social, he might even kill Yi Mo. Okay, trade. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor glanced seductively at Yi Mo. After getting this, Yi Mo sound transmission to Xian Yuxue, and then let's go now. You guys don't need to go with me. If people ask, just say we waited for the same ship together. You 3 follow the ship of the Divine Tao Realm. That Tao Essence Divine Emperor wouldn't dare to do anything to that ship. Don't need to worry about me. And immortal friend being, I will give you a refined heart pill at the Void Marketplace. To Yi Mo, there were too many things here he wanted. From this, he could see that there was definitely more he wanted at the Void Marketplace. However, he must ensure he safely arrived at the Void Marketplace. He must reach Tao Essence Divine Emperor at the Void Marketplace before coming back. Yi Mo got up to leave. Mu Xiaoyan, Qingru, and Fu Fei quickly followed. Seeing Yi Mo leave, the Tao Essence Divine Emperor Demon sneered and got up too. Many people sighed. Yi Mo had a lot of good things and traded a lot of good things, but in the end it would fall into the hands of that Tao Essence Demon Divine. Husband, should we go quickly? That person will definitely chase up. Mu Xiaoyan asked worriedly as soon as they left the social. Qingru and Fu Fei also looked worriedly at Yi Mo. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2140, 3 Murder, Tao Spear. Chapter 2140, 3 Murder, Tao Spear. We can't go now. It's suicide. We'll go to the Shadow Void Immortal Rest Tower immediately. Yi Mo didn't think he could get away with a top-grade Flying God artifact. When Yi Mo was still a Tao Molding Divine Emperor, he was ambushed by the Suyu Divine Tao Essence Divine Emperor. He knew that, even though he was Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor now, there was still difference between him and Tao Essence Divine Emperor. Yi Emo definitely didn't believe a Tao Essence Divine Emperor wouldn't have a top-grade Flying God artifact. Even if the Tao Essence Divine Emperor didn't have one, Yi Emo didn't think he could escape from him. Thus, he chose to go to the Immortal Rest Tower. This place belonged to the Shadow Void Castle, so even Tao Essence Divine Emperor don't dare to do what they want here. When he went into the Immortal Rest Tower, he immediately began to go into solitary cultivation to do 5 things. The first was to upgrade Zisu, the second was Spirit Control Murder Dao Spear, the third was to upgrade Flying Magic Artifact, the fourth was to Spirit Control more of the Golden Bow of Divine Extermination, and the fifth was to increase his cultivation level. Yi Emo didn't really like the Murder Dao Spear, but seeing how even the evil Little Blue still couldn't melt it, it was definitely a big lethal weapon. As for whether he could increase his cultivation level, Yi Emo didn't hold much hope. Even if he stayed here for a few decades, he wouldn't rush to go to the Void Marketplace. But he knew that no matter how wealthy he was, he couldn't stay here for a few decades. Brother Yi, you want to hide out at the Immortal Rest Tower for a while? Qingru asked. Yi Emo nodded and sped up. He saw that Tao Essence Divine Emperor Demon come out from the Exchange Social. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor saw Yi Emo and them and showed coldness in his eyes. He was in no rush. Regardless if Yi Emo was in the castle or not, he would have him for sure. But when he saw Yi Emo and them enter the Immortal Rest Tower, he immediately understood. His face changed as he dashed, wanting to stop them before the tower. However, there were restrictions everywhere in here. No matter how fast he went, Yi Emo and them already went in the Shadow Void Immortal Rest Tower. Yi Emo walked up and said, "Are there any more rooms left?" "There's no more middle grade or low grade rooms. Someone just checked out of a top grade room," the attendant said politely. When the Tao Essence Divine Emperor came in, he already saw Yi Emo talking to the attendant. He could only force down his anger. "Okay, I want a top grade room for 3 years," Yi Emo said without hesitation. The attendant was only Immortal Monarch cultivation level and immediately asked in shock, "It costs 100k top grade God crystals for 1 night. You want to book it for 3 years? If you leave early, we won't be refunding God crystals." Yi Emo took out 100 million God crystals and said, "Just deduct using these. If there's not enough, I'll pay more." The attendant woke up and quickly said politely, "Okay, please come up with me." To them, they would respect those who would allow them to earn God crystals. It had nothing to do with cultivation level. "Thank you." Yi Emo didn't even look at the Tao Essence Divine Emperor and went up. He can take out 100 million God crystals. He's wealthy indeed. "I want to see how many 100 million God crystals you have." The Tao Essence Divine Emperor sneered. He had decided to never leave the castle until Yi Emo left. Even a Tao Essence Divine Emperor couldn't take out a few 100 million God crystals so easily. That's why the Tao Essence Divine Emperor was certain that Yi Emo couldn't last long. The top grade rooms were extremely expensive BTU. The space and environment was great. There was a living room and 3 bedrooms. Yi Emo immediately set up restriction formations that prevented surveillance. After these, Yi Emo immediately went into the Golden Page world. If it wasn't due to a special circumstance, he would never want to enter the Golden Page world at the Shadow Void Immortal Rest Tower. However, he only had 3 years' time. Even if he used Time Formation Disc, there would only be 300 years. It wasn't long for Yi Emo as he needed to do too many things. After Yi Emo went into solitary cultivation, Xian Yushuet and then left the castle with the ship. Yi Emo was followed by Tao Essence Divine Emperor. There was nothing they could do. "Immortal friend Xian Yu, do you think Brother Yi can survive this?" Gu Bing asked worriedly. Xian Yushuet said, "I believe he can survive this. When Shinta Shinda went after him, I knew he would survive. This time I still think the same. Don't worry, Brother Yi will definitely get to the Void Marketplace and give you the Refined Heart Pill." Gu Being shook her head. I'm not worried about the pill. I'm really worried about Immortal Friend-y. Xian just said on the side. To be honest, Immortal Friend-y is too wealthy. If he wasn't concerned with those Tao Essence Divine Emperors, he would definitely be able to exchange more things. Yi Mo had now begun concocting all sorts of god pill and forging middle-grade god artifacts. He got large amounts of materials and god spirit herb, and all he needed to do now was to increase his forgery and pill concoction skills. After 50 years in the time formation disk, Yi Mo successfully fused the falling silver ice into the space-time boat, upgrading it to extreme-grade flying god artifact. During this time, Little Blue helped him a lot. Without a good flame, even if Yi Mo was extreme-grade forgery divine, he wouldn't be able to upgrade space-time boat into an extreme-grade god artifact. Comparatively, Yi Mo only used a few days to reach Tao Nourishment Pill Divine. In just a few days, he concocted 4 cauldrons of refined heart pill. Then, Yi Mo took out the murdered Tao spear. He knew this spear was extremely hard to control and might backlash him. Before, after spirit controlling it for a year and having no effect, Yi Mo stopped and let Little Blue try to melt the murdered Tao spear. However, Little Blue still couldn't melt the spear, so Yi Mo could only give up. This time, Yi Mo reached Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor and started to spirit control the spear again. Yi Mo planned to spend 50 years on it. If it didn't work, he would give up. A terrifying, murderous qi came from the murdered Tao spear. There was killing qi, hatred qi, and abyssal qi mixed together. It was very hard to remove. All sorts of negative qi circulated the murdered Tao spear as though they would explode at any time. Yi Mo knew that even if he just spirit control 1/10 of the spear, it would be a huge lethal weapon and might save him at a critical time. Time flew away rapidly. With Yi Mo's persistent efforts, the chaotic Kais finally started to dissipate before eventually being completely removed. The murdered Tao spear didn't seem that violent anymore, but it seemed more bleak. Yi Mo then started to spirit control the restrictions inside. However, Yi Mo found in shock that the murdered Tao spear only had 7 restrictions. Yi Mo dazed what was going on. Even an ordinary spirit artifact had 6 to 7 restriction. Was this murdered Tao spear a cultivation realm spirit artifact? But Yi Mo immediately gave up that idea. If murdered Tao spear was just a spirit artifact, he would be able to crush it easily. How would it be able to kill a primordial essence divine emperor like Duanmu Yuebwa? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2144 Void Encounter. Chapter 2144 Void Encounter. Yi Mo's spirit sense touched the first restriction as he tried to spirit control it. He then realized he thought too simply. This restriction contained 9 entwining restrictions. Yi Mo breathed easy. This was more like it. When Yi Mo started to spirit control these 9 restrictions, he realized how hard it was. It took him only 5 years for the first 3 restriction, but for the 3 to 6, he spent 20 years. For the 6th to 9th, he spent 50 years. Yi Mo spent 75 years just spirit controlling the first of the 7 restriction. Yi Mo knew it would only get harder and harder. When Yi Mo began trying the 2nd restriction, he completely gave up. There weren't 9 entwining restriction insides, but 18. Yi Mo didn't continue. According to this, the 3rd should have 27 restrictions and the 4th would have 36 restrictions. If this continued, there would be more than 108 restrictions. Yi Mo felt the bloodthirsty killing intent from the spear and knew that even though he just spirit controlled one of the 7 restrictions, it could threaten a Tao Essence Divine Emperor. Instead of wasting more time on the murdered Tao spear, He might as well spend time on the golden bow of divine extermination. He was at 99 restrictions for the bow and arrows. If he reached 100 or more, its power would more than double. He attempted the Eloth restriction when he was Tao molding Divine Emperor, but it was too hard, so he gave up. Now that he was Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor, it was still very tough. But compared to before, he could at least loosen the restriction. 50 years later, Yemo finally spirit controlled the Eloth restriction of the golden bow of divine extermination. Yemo shook his head. This took so long. Yemo spent another 30 years, and spirit controlled another arrow to the Eloth restriction. 3 years' time wasn't up, but Yemo knew that his 100 million god crystals was about to be used up. Yemo stopped and put away the time formation disc. He took another yellow middle plum from the tree. The fruit could help you learn a new world law or strengthen your understanding of one. Yemo wanted to strengthen his understanding. If he could grab a region of space in the void and bind the Tao Essence Divine Emperor, then even if it was for a second, he could heavily injure the demon and kill him. To Yemo, he didn't just want to escape from the Tao Essence Divine Emperor. If it was just escaping, then the extreme grade Flying God artifact was enough. However, that Tao Essence Divine Emperor dared to threaten about Shaoyan. Yemo was going to kill him no matter what. There seemed to be some similarity between one region and instant second, but Yemo knew they were two completely different god art laws. One was space god art, one was time law god art. In reality, instant second was more terrifying, but Yemo knew his instant second was far weaker than one region. He only learnt a small bit of the instant second. It was fine to use against Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, but for Tao Essence Divine Emperor, it was much more lacking. No matter how powerful the god art, you would have to have a deep mastery of it to release instant second power. Yemo learned the Tao wave laws of one yellow middle plum fruit and turned it into his understanding of one region void god art. A month later, Yemo grabbed again. This time, it was much more natural than the first. There was no pause at all. Yemo knew his one region progressed again. Although it flowed smoothly in his own world, it would be hundreds of times harder when he went to the outside world. Yemo calculated the limit of the 100 million god crystals and stopped cultivation. He started to make formation flags. Although Yemo wouldn't be naive enough to think he could kill a Tao Essence Divine Emperor with formation, it would still help him. After making hundreds of formation flags, Yemo stopped. He felt it was time to leave the Shadow Void Castle. If he still couldn't kill the Tao Essence Divine Emperor after all these preparations, he would run as far away as possible. Yemo came out of the Golden Page world and found Qingru and them not cultivating. Clearly, they knew the 100 million god crystals were about to be used up. "Husband, are we going?" Mu Shaoyan saw Yemo in a light mood and asked in relief. "That's right, let's go now." Yemo said, "Are you going? I thought you had more god crystals." A dark chi-circulated man looked at his communication bead and sneered. He flashed and went out of this cultivation home. In a short moment, he appeared outside the Shadow Void Castle and released his flying magic artifact. It was a top-grade flying god artifact. The female Tao Essence Divine Emperor of the Exchange Social looked outside and shook her head. Too naive. If a Tao Essence being is that easily avoided, people wouldn't be so scared of them. Yemo didn't know there was someone worrying for him. He knew as soon as the demon left the castle, so he sped up the space-time boat speed. It's an extreme grade flying god artifact. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor dazed and showed extreme joy. Even he only had a top grade flying god artifact. Compared to the extreme grade flying god artifact, the 9-star bamboo was nothing. Ha ha ha, the demon laughed. Yemo stopped now. He put the space-time boat away as quickly as possible and let Qingru and them enter the Golden Page world. He shot out the formation flags, and in just 10 seconds they disappeared into the void. Even so, Yemo felt that he had too little time. If he had 5 minutes, he would be able to set up a bigger formation. After Yemo was done, he moved a few hundred km towards the Shadow Void Castle before stopping. You actually stopped running? The Tao Essence Divine Emperor saw Yemo standing in the void and asked in confusion. Wait, you still have Small World. No, it's Truth Spirit World. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor didn't see Mu Shaoyin and them. Tao Fruit, Truth Spirit World, Extreme Grade Flying God Artifact. You really didn't disappoint me. The Tao Essence Divine Demon clearly thought of Yemo as his already. I believe you think your God art is powerful, so you want to test the difference between you and a Tao Essence Divine Emperor? I'll grant your wish. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor said and waved out a black mist. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2145 Use All Means. Chapter 2145 Use All means he knew Yemo had a lot of things, so he attacked immediately. This place wasn't far from the Shadow Voice Castle, and if another Tao Essence Divine Emperor comes, he wouldn't be able to take all of Yemo's things for himself. The black mist looked slow, but it instantly crossed all space and completely bound Yemo's surroundings. Yemo barely released ice space. After he was bound by this black mist, there was terror in Yemo's eyes. The demon Tao Essence Divine Emperor looked at Yemo in contempt. Yemo only had this little power and dared to test him? This was just the beginning of his god art. He didn't even use half of it, and Yemo was scared. How were they supposed to fight? Yemo's terror was fake, but there was some shock inside. He knew this black mist wasn't some divine emperor domain, but a true space god art. This was much more experienced than his space god art. The black mist was very slow, and the seemingly slow mist ignored space and bound him. More importantly, his sea of consciousness began to go chaotic in the mist. Even his will was being transferred. Yemo immediately knew what was going on. Staying in this black mist for long would create heart demon. Yemo was certain that this demon didn't completely release his black mist binding. This was just the start. Luckily, he had been cultivating under the bitter bamboo, and his heart was very firm. The mist heart demon was strong, but it couldn't affect him so quickly. Yemo was planning to clash head-on and retreat, but now he had to retreat. He only set up a slowly activated ice space. If he didn't retreat, he would have no chance. If the Tao Essence Divine Emperor broke his ice space, he would have to await death, unable to use his other means. Yemo's Spirit Sense God, Art Shatter Space, activated and hacked out. The binding on him loosened. When he regained some freedom, Yemo punched out. 3-stack wave kill. 3 firewalls smashed on the black mist, binding tearing open a small crack. Yemo punched again without hesitation. Void. Crack. The black mist was punched out a tunnel, and Yemo dashed away in this tunnel. This was the first time he used Spirit Sense God Art. 3-wave kill, and 1 void punch just to run away. You have some power. Not only could you break free from the heart demon erosion, but also my space binding. It's heaven flame. However, you only broke the skin of my god art. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor immediately felt a freezing coldness around him. You set up ice space god art and stealthed it here. If it was a Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, he probably would have been ambushed. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor's body shook, and there was a crack around him. Yemo's ice space god art didn't even stop him for a second. Yemo breathed easy. He got away regardless. However, the black mist gathered up immediately and formed a black punch. It came so fast that it was instantly at Yemo's chest. Thud! The black fist struck on Yimo's chest. Yimo's bones made a cracking sound as he flew back, spitting blood in the air. He couldn't even dodge that black fist. The force of the fist gathered the nearby space and bound him like before. The chaos tree instantly released life, force, nourishing his bones. Yimo recovered quickly, but he was shocked. Facing a Tao Essence Divine Emperor who just used on God art, he couldn't even defend himself. Were the things he set up even useful? I didn't expect your immortal God body peak stage immortal. You really give me a huge surprise. Your body didn't cripple under my punch. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor then waved his hand and a huge pale bell appeared. I'll let you see my fortune life heaven cripple bell. Before he finished, Yimo threw out 2 great primordial god runes. He couldn't let this guy attack first. Otherwise, he would be dead. Great primordial god rune. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor showed a serious face for the first time. His bell instantly expanded to one that covered the entire void. Ding ding. The 2 great primordial god runes smashed on the bell, and it grew much smaller, but the 2 great primordial god runes were blocked. This was the first time Yimo saw his great primordial god rune being completely blocked. This Tao Essence Divine Emperor was too scary. Yimo didn't know how this guy ranked amongst Tao Essence Divine Emperor, but if he was ordinary, then how powerful would the strong ones be? You just know a little bit of the great primordial god rune, and you dare to use it to scare me. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor didn't even breath, heavy blocking the 2 great primordial god runes. Yimo's heart sunk. He had no way out now. The next moment, he placed a golden bone arrow on his golden bow of divine extermination. Yimo did all this in rapid succession. He didn't dare to pause a bit. Otherwise, if the Tao Essence Divine Emperor used another god art, he might not be able to even attack. Killing a Tao Essence Divine Emperor wasn't simple indeed. Golden bow of divine extermination. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor's eyes narrowed again and stared deadly at the bone arrow. Even he didn't dare to ignore it. At this moment, there was much more shock in his heart than Yimo's. He had tested out Yimo's cultivation level. It was at most Tao Actualization Divine Emperor, but this little Tao Actualization Divine Emperor had this many absurdly powerful things. If word got out, it would shock the entire astral space. His heart was shaking. Great primordial god rune. Golden bow of divine extermination. Extreme grade flying god artifact. Truth spirit world. Heaven flame. Which of these wasn't something any divine emperor sought after like crazy? If all these became his, just how powerful would he be? Who knew if this little divine emperor had more? The Tao Essence Divine Emperor didn't keep thinking. He breathed easy instead. The bone arrow shot out, but it wouldn't be able to do anything to him. The bell rung again, and dense black mist rolled around him. He was going to kill Yimo as quickly as possible. But before his black mist formed, his eyes narrowed again. He saw a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and even 5th golden bone arrow shoot at him. Dang, 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 dang. The bell blocked 4 arrows, and it turned completely dark. It shrunk rapidly before making a cracking sound. The 5th arrow brushed past the bell, and for the first time, the Tao Essence Divine Emperor felt threatened. He waved up his hand without hesitation, and the rolling black mist appeared before him. The 5th golden bone arrow shot in the mist and exploded it. The golden bone arrow slowed down and was grabbed by the Tao Essence Divine Emperor. At the same time, blood sprayed out of his hand and his sleeves turned to dust. Yimo's face was pale, and his god essence seemed to be unable to last, but he still shot out the 6th arrow. He knew that if he wasted even a little bit of time, he would die. Finally, there was extremely shock in the eyes of the Tao Essence Divine Emperor. He didn't expect Yimo had a 6th arrow. It definitely wasn't easy to gather up the golden bone arrows. Even 3 was hard, but Yimo had a 6th. Black runic ripples sprung up around the Tao Essence Divine Emperor. A blood devil scissors appeared out of nowhere. Just when he was about to stop the sixth arrow, he saw a seventh golden bone arrow. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2146 Arduous Battle. Chapter 2146 Arduous Battle as a Tao Essence Divine Emperor. This demon divine had seen all sorts of strange things, but he had never seen an absurdly powerful divine emperor like Yemo. He was wealthy to a new extreme. He had heard of the golden bow of divine extermination, and it fell in the divine Tao realm. It said only 5 arrows remained, but Yemo took out 7. Luckily, he didn't see an 8th arrow. If a Tao Essence Divine Emperor shot out 7 arrows to him, he would have given up, but Yemo wasn't a Tao Essence Divine Emperor. He was just a mere first-step Divine Emperor. So what if he had 7 arrows? He was confident he could stop the 7 arrows, and even if he was injured, it wouldn't be serious. As he thought, the black ripples around him materialized and was about to squeeze away the nearby void. He was certain his mist could stop the 6th arrow and the 7th stopped by the scissors. But the golden arrow of divine extermination was too fast, and he didn't have enough time to release his scissors. He would receive some injuries. If these 7 arrows were Yemo's killing blow, then he would let this little divine emperor know that his lethal blows were nothing to him. Before he finished, he felt things weren't right. The 7th arrow should be arriving last, but when the 7th arrow shot out, it had surpassed the 6th and came to him. Wait, the 7th arrow was stronger than the previous 6th combined. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor didn't have time to think and smashed the blood scissors out. The black mist ripple was torn apart. At the same time, the golden bone arrow smashed on the scissors. Rumble, God Essence splashed, and the scissors was shot away. Blood seeped out of the Tao Essence Divine Emperor's mouth as he grabbed at the 7th arrow with a cruel face. However, the arrow instantly tore his hands apart. Even so, the Tao Essence Divine Emperor still stopped the power of the 7th arrow. Now, the 6th arrow came, and the Tao Essence Divine Emperor could barely use his God Essence barrier to block the last one. The 6th arrow smashed on the chest of the Tao Essence Divine Emperor and blasted half of his body to pieces. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor no longer had the look of being in control. His face went pitch black as he yelled, "I'm going to eat you alive." The blood scissors formed 2 huge scissors rays. Yemo's face was pale like paper. His sea of consciousness was aching with pain. His God Essence had withered to a new extreme. Even so, Yemo burned his essence blood like crazy as he threw out a few formation flags. Before the Tao Essence Divine Emperor's scissors rays had released, he noticed something was wrong. He felt the space he was at change. At the same time, Yemo grabbed God, Art 1 region. It formed instantly and trapped the Tao Essence Divine Emperor in this space. Space binding God, Art. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor called out in shock, but then he realized this was space grab. The region of space he was in no longer belonged to the universe. It belonged to Yemo. It was suicide to stand in an opponent's space. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor instantly realized his predicament. If it was before, he wouldn't even care about being in Yemo's space, but now he didn't dare to hesitate at all. Almost in that instant, he broke free from Yemo's dimension, but at the same time, he saw something he would never forget. It was a short spear. It was only 80 centimeters long. When he saw it, the spear was already in front of his face. The universe, tearing killing intent, instantly took his mind away. He didn't even dare to resist against this spear. At this moment, void disappeared, the universe disappeared, Yemo disappeared. All that was in his mind was just one thing, the 80 centimeters short spear. Murder, Tao spear. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor didn't struggle. He knew that the murdered Tao spear had sensed his blood, and it was pointless even if he was stronger. Even if he wasn't heavily injured, he wouldn't be able to get away. His Tao had been targeted by the murdered Tao spear. Even if he could survive this spear, he would lose his Tao. He let the murdered Tao spear strike into his chest, but he stared at Emo. Even in his death, he didn't understand how there could be someone this wealthy in the universe. How there could be a divine emperor this insane. Thud! The murdered Tao spear entered the body of the Tao Essence Divine Emperor and exploded. The blood mist didn't even spill out and was completely devoured by the murdered Tao spear. The murdered Tao spear let out a sharp shriek as though it was extremely excited. A storage ring and bracelet fell. Emo wobbly collected these two things and grabbed the murdered Tao spear. He put a few restrictions on it before taking his 7 bone arrows and instant transmissioning away. He couldn't even care about the formation flags. Emo didn't know where he instant transmissioned to, but he didn't care. He immediately went into his golden page world and laid in there. In the battle with the Tao Essence Divine Emperor, he used all his cards and almost killed himself too. If the Tao Essence Divine Emperor took him a little more seriously and didn't let him use Great Primordial God Rune, the end result would be different. Although he killed the Tao Essence Divine Emperor, he damaged his foundations. If he didn't have the Chaos Tree, his cultivation would stop here. Luckily, the Chaos Tree could slowly let him recover. Husband, Mu Xiaoyan saw Emo come instant transmission, he golden page world and become motionless. She immediately charged over in shock and hugged Emo, Small Ginseng, and Small Ginseng, and them all came over. Small Ginseng quickly said, "Sister, Xiaoyan, don't worry. Boss would be fine as long as his essence spirit is there. We just need to send him under the bitter bamboo and let him recover. At most half years later, Boss would be able to move." No one knew how powerful the World Tree was better than Small Ginseng. Soon, he would even be able to recover his arm using the Chaos Tree. Mu Xiaoyan heard this and quickly carried Emo to the bitter bamboo. When she did, she breathed easy. She immediately felt the dense life force on Emo. With Emo recovering, no one dared to go out of the Golden Page world. The Golden Page world floated in the void. As a wave of asteroids came, the Golden Page world was taken to a different location. At the battlegrounds between Emo and the Tao Essence Divine Emperor, a Tao Essence Divine Emperor woman stood there. If Emo was here, he would recognize her to be the woman who managed the exchange social. She stood here for a long time before frowning. "It's not right. Even I'm no match for Mo Fu. How could he disappear from here? Could that little immortal emperor be hiding his power?" Then she shook her head. Impossible. That immortal emperor would at most be a Tao actualization divine emperor. No matter what means a Tao actualization divine emperor used, he would be no match for Mo Fu. "Wait!" She grabbed a few formation flags over and studied them for a long time before saying in shock, "This is extreme grade formation flags. Only the best formation grandmasters can forge such formation flags and set up void formations." She studied them and was sure they were Yemo's. They were freshly made. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor gasped for some cold air. Yemo didn't seem young, and she thought he was just a spoiled sect members of a big sect. Instead, he was a powerful being. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2147, Tao Cocoon. Chapter 2147, Tao Cocoon. Wait. The female Tao Essence Divine Emperor's spirit sense scanned afar, and at the same time, she disappeared. Then, she appeared 10,000 kilometers away and grabbed a bell. "Fortune, life, heaven, cripple bell." The Tao Essence Divine Emperor said this, and her hands were shaking. How could she not know that this was Mo Fu's signature defense magic artifact? Now that it appeared here, what did it mean? Something definitely happened to Mo Fu. Either he was killed or so heavily injured that he was about to die. Otherwise, there was no way he would abandon Isbel. Since when did such an absurd first-step divine emperor appear in the human race? She knew Emofu's power. He was definitely not simple amongst Tao Essence divine emperor. She was definitely no match for him. If that young human could kill Emofu, didn't it mean he could easily kill her? Thinking about this, the Tao Essence divine emperor shivered. She didn't understand why Yi Emo hid in the shadow void immortal rest tower for a few years. Since he had the power to kill Emo Fu, why hide? She most let the social know about the emergence of this powerful divine emperor. The Tao Essence divine emperor flashed and disappeared. A speck of golden dust fused into the endless void. There were too many of these golden dusts in the void. No one would expect this golden dust was a complete world, a chaos world. Yi Emo was still unconscious in the golden page world. This was more than the half a year small ginseng spoke about. Yi Emo had been unconscious in here for 50 years and still didn't wake up. Mu Xiaoyan had been staying next to Yi Emo in these 50 years. Almost everyone in the golden page world knew that their power was too low after Yi Emo got injured. The rest of the people cultivated like crazy. Fu Fei was already immortal emperor peak stage, and in order for Fu Fei to vindicate Tao, Mu Xiaoyan picked a yellow middle plum and gave it to Fu Fei. Fu Fei knew that their group was too weak. Yi Emo helped him modify his cultivation method, and if he wanted to increase his power, he would have to quickly vindicate Tao. After reaching immortal emperor peak stage, he found a place in the golden page world to go into solitary cultivation. Qingru, with the help of the time formation disc, was already immortal monarch tertiary stage. But Qingru didn't stay in the time formation disc to cultivate. She stopped and came out sitting under the bitter bamboo. Everyone knew that progressing too fast would cause unstable foundation. Xiaoyan, go cultivate for a while. I'll take care of Brother Yi. Qingru walked next to Mu Xiaoyan and sat down. Mu Xiaoyan glanced at Yi Emo. Although his body was filled with life force and she could even feel the Tao waves circulating around him, she was still a bit worried. After all, Yi Emo didn't move ever since coming in here. She shook her head and didn't want to leave Yi Emo. Qingru pulled her hand and said, Xiaoyan, the most important thing now is to increase cultivation level. If we're all divine emperors, then perhaps we could help a little with Brother Ye's fight against that demon Tao Essence divine emperor. Because we're too weak, Brother Yi has to hold on alone. I've been in the time formation disc for too long, and I need to stabilize my foundation under the bitter bamboo. I can take care of Brother Yi. Just go cultivate and try to reach Tao vindication early. Mu Xiaoyan felt Qingru's immortal monarch tertiary stage qi and nodded. She knew Qingru was very right. Okay, I'm going in the time formation disc. If husband wakes up, tell me. Mu Xiaoyan said. After Mu Xiaoyan left, Qingru sat under the bitter bamboo, cleansing her mind while taking care of Yi Emo. After another year, Qingru suddenly noticed something wrong. Yi Emo was just laying under the bitter bamboo before, but now, a blue ray emitted from his body. It was very faint at the start, but later on it grew dense and completely covered Yi Emo. Qingru got up in shock and didn't understand what was going on. At the same time, a greenish-blue tree rose up slowly from the blue light. The tree had ample leaves and emitted extremely dense life force. It even had chaos qi and rippled like life Tao waves. Qingru stared dazedly at this blue-green tree. She didn't believe such an absurd tree existed in the world. This Tao wave, this life qi, this chaos wave, was this the chaos tree? She had asked her master before what was the most precious thing in the universe. Her master said the most precious thing wasn't chaos worlds nor chaos magic artifacts, but a tree. The chaos tree. The chaos tree was also called the tree of life. It emitted endless life force. It was also called universe tree, signifying its uniqueness. It said that the first thing that appeared in the universe was the chaos tree, and everything was nurtured by the chaos tree. The ripples of life, Tao wave circulated. She didn't even need to cultivate and could feel her understanding grow. At Immortal Monarch Power, she actually learned life, Tao waves. This was definitely the chaos tree. Qing Ru suppressed her shock and sat around the blue light, learning the life, Tao waves of the chaos tree. No wonder, brother, you was so insane. The chaos tree was here, clearly because it recognized Mo as his master. This means that this world was no truth spirit, nor five-element world, but a chaos world. Qing Ru soon forget everything and immersed herself in the life Tao wave. What she didn't see was a faint golden ray form around Mo's body. It grew until it was like a huge cocoon. The golden cocoon devoured endless blue rays before growing dim. After some unknown amount of time, the blue ray disappeared from above Mo, and the golden cocoon made a cracking sound. The cracks on the cocoon grew wider before Mo's body was revealed again. All his clothes had been taken away by the cocoon, and a perfect body showed. The blue tree above Mo slowly sunk into Mo's dantian, and the remaining Tao waves also entered Mo's body. Before Mo opened his eyes, he felt endless power circulating in his body. Those Tao waves and God arts he didn't understand before cleared up. Different Tao waves added up in the sea of consciousness and increased his understanding of God art and Tao. When the blue Tao waves completely fused into Mo's body, Mo slowly opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was Qing Ru. Her eyes were tightly shut. Mo didn't have any mood to care about her right now. He knew he didn't wear clothes, but the great primordial god, Rune Tao waves he caught became clearer. If he didn't use great primordial god rune immediately, he would regret for countless years. Mo hacked out 2 great primordial god runes. These 2 were fainter than the ones before. The entire golden page world seemed to have twisted under the god rune. An extremely terrifying lethal force formed in Mo's sea of consciousness. It was as though his great primordial god rune could cross the void at any time. The great primordial god rune was truly in small completion. Mo rejoiced like crazy. Suddenly he thought of his heaven flame 9 suns god art calling to him. The heaven flame 9 suns wasn't just a widespread attack, it was also a single attack. Mo suppressed his joy and quickly put on his clothes. He felt Qing Ru was about to wake up. If it was Zhan Bingyu, Mo might learn the heaven flame 9 suns before putting clothes on, since Zhan Bingyu didn't care about it. But Qing Ru was different. Although Qing Ru was the most perfect woman he had seen, he didn't have any interest in her now. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2148, Divine Body and Spiritual Seed. Chapter 2148, Divine Body and Spiritual Seed. Mo instantly left the bitter bamboo and just wobbled, appearing more than 100,000 kilometers from the bitter bamboo. Mo knew that sometimes enlightenment only came in a brief instant. If he didn't fuse that enlightenment into his god art, then this instant of enlightenment would never come again. Therefore, Mo stopped immediately and released a blue sun. The heaven flame 9 suns was smashed out like a projectile. The blue sun almost burned all the nearby, void cracking. The golden page world was Mo's own chaos world, and even when this fireball burned out, it caused space ripples. Before the first sun completely exploded, Mo smashed out the second and third sun. When the 6th sun went out, Mo finally stopped and closed his eyes. A god art Tao wave was caught by him. The 6th sun completely covered a radius of 10,000 kilometers in the fire. This region turned to blue, and Mo could feel that if he wanted to, the target struck by his heaven flame 9 suns would turn to dust. no matter how sturdy or ferocious this target was. The Heaven Flame Nine Suns was like the golden bow and arrow. The speed of the Heaven Flame Nine Suns was far weaker than the bow and arrow, but Yemo was certain that even extreme grade defense god artifact would be pulverized under the constant barrage of the Heaven Flame Nine Suns. After throwing out 6 suns, Yemo felt a bit tired too. He closed his eyes and went through the Heaven Flame Nine Suns god art in his mind and started to recover his god essence. When he felt his meridians again, Yemo was shocked. He suddenly opened his eyes. His body refinement had just reached divine body, and he didn't even know. Wasn't the divine body the highest state of body refinement? Every time he broke through in body refinement before, he was covered in wounds, but now he just reached divine body while sleeping. Was this luck? Yemo soon realized that this wasn't luck. His immortal god body was full. This time his Tao foundation was damaged and his meridians were crumbled. If it wasn't for the chaos tree, his cultivation would have ended there. It was because he had the chaos tree that he dared to damage his Tao foundation. Luckily, the chaos tree not only repaired his meridians and rebirthed him in a cocoon. Not only so, it brought him to divine body. After reaching divine body, Yemo felt this sliver of real feeling. He didn't need to intentionally extend his body refinement barrier. His body would be the strongest all the time, but also ordinary at all times. Yemo breathed slowly. He thought that it would be very hard for him to reach divine body. He would have to cultivate with Zhenbingyu. Yemo believed that if he found Zhenbingyu and asked her of this, Zhenbingyu would definitely agree, but Yemo didn't plan to do this. He knew what Zhenbingyu's Tao was. Although her Tao seemed to have changed, he didn't want to do this. It wasn't that he had no feelings to her, but he completely disagreed her perspective of sex. When he was with Xiaonin, Jiangwen, he never thought about duo cultivation. He didn't need to, and they didn't need to. Qing Ru, sitting under the bitter bamboo, felt waves of life, Tao waves come. She happily embraced this. The life Tao waves she felt were endless, like expanding blue mist that seeped into her Tao. Life, human life, Qi, gathered as life, separated is death. Human's life is like ice. Water condenses into ice. Qi gathers and becomes life. Life force is born of Qi and dies of exhaustion of essence. All life has death. Life force is what keeps life going. It's a Tao wave of the world. All sorts of life, Qi entered Qing Ru's head. She smiled. Qing Ru was immersed in the waves of life Qi. There was nothing else, no disturbance. Suddenly, she saw a figure in the endless blue life force. When that person cleared up, it was actually Yemo. What shocked her was that Yemo ripped off his clothes and walked towards her. "Don't do this, Brother Yi," Qing Ru yelled in terror. In her heart, Yemo wasn't this person, but she saw Yemo come over and embrace her. She couldn't resist at all. Her clothes were ripped off too. If Yemo wanted it, then she'll just give it to him. Perhaps she really saw him wrong. 2 lines of tears came out and she gave up resistance. What appeared in her mind was South Peace State Ice God Palace. At that time, she just came to the cultivation realm. When she saw that woman, she was washing herself in the spirit marrow pond. She was definitely pretty, even though her body was perfect to the extreme. She was amazed by the body of that woman. But then she saw a man jump into the pond, and then she saw that man strip his own clothes and started kissing the woman like crazy. Wasn't that the same actions Yemo was doing to her? She learned this joy and suddenly wanted to embrace Yemo too. But she eventually defeated her lust and didn't move no matter what Yemo did. Even though her body had betrayed her, she bit her lips and didn't move. Suddenly, the blue color receded from Yemo's body, and a pea-sized blue seed appeared in her body. That seed emitted life force slowly, as though describing the secrets of life. "Am I pregnant?" Qing Ru's face eased up as she felt her stomach, as though being happy for the life in her stomach. "Qing Ru, what are you doing?" Yemo came back joyfully. But what he didn't understand was that Qing Ru started to rip her own clothes, and then she felt her stomach with a face of gentleness. Luckily, there were still clothes covering her private areas. Huh. Qingru suddenly woke up and looked at Emo, unable to react. Brother Yi-Yu! Qingru just wanted to speak, but then she remembered what Emo did to her and frowned. Wait, she could see something wasn't right from Yemo's face, but Emo clearly did that to her. Emo didn't want things to be awkward and smiled. Put your clothes on quickly. If I didn't see your gentle look, I would have thought you were doing something. Brother Yi, we didn't have sex. Qingru looked at Emo and asked. Emo looked dazedly at her. Have sex with Qingru? How is that possible? Seeing Yemo's face, Qingru instantly understood and blushed. She quickly put on her clothes. She realized that she probably sensed Yemo's life Dao waves and formed her own Dao. Emo didn't do anything with her, but she learned her life Dao from Emo. During that time, she went crazy with Emo mentally. Realizing this, Qingru wanted to slap herself. If she didn't say it, no one would know. Seeing Emo look at her with confusion, Qingru quickly added, I was learning Dao waves and didn't react in time. Don't take it to heart, what I said. But Qingru felt something wasn't right. There was clearly a blue seed in her stomach. Qingru frowned and hesitated for a while before saying, Brother, I want to tell you a story I saw with my own eyes. Are you able to help me explain it? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2148.1 Ice God Forbidden Grounds Secret. Chapter 2148 1. Ice God Forbidden Grounds Secret. Emo sat next to Qingru and smiled. Sure, tell me. Qingru nodded and sat down again. Brother Yi, you have gone through more things than me, so you probably know more than me. There are some things I don't understand, Emo thought and said. Qingru, I might have experienced more things than you, but I really might not know as much as you. Qingru was older than him and she had a powerful master. There were many things about cultivation that he didn't know, but she knew. Qingru quickly said, I'm not talking about this. Listen to me first. Once I went to a place and I saw an extremely beautiful woman taking a shower in the spirit marrow pond, but at this time a man charged in. The woman wasn't scared seeing the man. Then the man took off his clothes and started making love with the woman in the pond. The man and woman went too crazy and was immersed in this. They didn't notice the surroundings. Emo heard this and couldn't resist, asking, Qingru, you wouldn't be on the side watching them, right? Qingru blushed. Of course, she wouldn't be that bored. Brother, I didn't watch. Don't change the topic. Qingru argued awkwardly. Emo thought about it and realized if Qingru could see that place, it meant that place wasn't a secret to her. Qingru continued. But at this moment, another extremely well-dressed man charged in the spirit marrow pond. When the man came in, the man and woman making love woke up. The three of them froze before the woman shakily called Zishuan and pushed the man on her away fiercely. The woman saw the well-dressed man look at her in disbelief, and she suddenly ran over crying, wanting to hug the well-dressed man. But before she got near this man, the man slapped her hand and left the pond with an extremely sad look. Qingru's story gave Emo a familiar feeling, but he couldn't remember where he saw it. Qingru sighed after the woman was slapped away. She looked at the man in disbelief as though not believing this man would slap her. She cried her heart out and left the bathroom, not even wearing her clothes. The man who came in first saw the two of them leave and quickly put on his clothes and left too. The well-dressed man went to another room. He sat on the chair for a while. The sadness and despair in his eyes went deeper until he eventually pierced his hand with his own hands and died. Emo finally realized now that this was the scene he saw at the Ice God Forbidden Grounds. There was a few inner clothes of a woman hanging by the side of the spirit marrow pond. He was guessing that something tragic happened to the woman, and she fled before being able to dress herself. Now, it seemed he overestimated her. She fled in embarrassment for being caught cheating. Perhaps she was thinking that even if she did something wrong, the man who loved her so much shouldn't hit her. So that's what happened in the ice god forbidden grounds. Yi Emo sighed. This thing was quite tragic for that well-dressed man. That man slapped the woman and didn't go kill the man she cheated with. This meant that he was definitely very close with that other man. From another perspective, if that man wasn't important to him, he wouldn't be able to get inside the pond and see his wife bathing. Hearing this, Qingru dazed and released that Yi Emo definitely saw the scene too. Otherwise, how would he know it was from the ice god palace? But soon she said, "You probably saw this when you took me away, right? Theoretically, there were so many people in the ice god palace. Even if you went, the scene should have been dealt with. How could you see it? How could it be dealt with? The entire ice god palace died. Who would deal with it?" Then Yi Emo noticed something wasn't right and asked Qingru, "You probably saw this when you first arrived at Ice God Palace, right? How did you almost die at that ice mountain?" Qingru said awkwardly, "I just came to the cultivation realm from the immortal realm. In order to stay there, I have to suppress my cultivation level. Even so, the pressure from the world was unbearable. At that time, I wasn't completely used to it. The man who was having sex with the woman saw me and dazed." Yi Emo nodded. No matter who saw Qingru for the first time, they would be dazed. Even he was shocked seeing Qingru for the first time. As a woman, Qingru was too perfect. Just when I was about to attack, he attacked first. This person released the terrifying 9-headed void devouring bug. The 9-headed void devouring bug was too disgusting. I didn't attack yet, and I almost puked. That 9-headed void devouring bug was about to devour me. Yi Emo shook his head. That 9-headed void devouring bug wasn't trying to devour you. He was probably trying to bind your space and let its master catch you. How do you know? Qingru asked dazedly. She only knew later. Yi Emo smiled. That man couldn't wait to do dirty things with that woman in the bath. Clearly, he's very lustful. Any lustful person who sees your appearance would want you. Since he wants you, of course, he wouldn't let the 9-headed void devouring bug eat you. Qingru sighed and nodded indeed. The instant I was scared, the man attacked. He ambushed me. Luckily, although my power was suppressed, I was way stronger than him. I still broke free from the binding and heavily injured him. I was backlashed and ambushed, so I almost died. What were you doing at the Ice God Palace? Yi Emo asked again. Qingru's eyes flashed with sadness. My master took me around the immortal realm and encountered a disciple who ascended from the Ice God Palace. From her, we knew that there would be many female disciples turning into ice sculptures each year for no reason. My master was furious and wanted to go to the cultivation realm to investigate, but her cultivation level was too high and couldn't handle the suppression of the cultivation realm world laws. Eventually, I had to go down and check. Yi Emo wanted to laugh. Your master's power wasn't too high but too low. If your master vindicated Tao, go and see if she would still be suppressed by the cultivation realm. Plus, if Li Xiu was really sad and furious, why were there that many ice forests in the Ice God Palace too? Qingru continued. My master used an ancient formation to send me to the cultivation realm, and I realized how powerful the world laws of the cultivation realm was. Even though my cultivation level was low, it was still very harsh. After that man was defeated by me, he was worried I would hunt him and fled. My spirit sense saw he turned all the women he saw into ice, and I immediately realized what was going on. Yi Emo realized too. Qingru's face turned pale. I was so angry at the time. I knew it was that bastard who turned our Ice God Palace sect members to ice, but there was nothing I could do. Chapter 2148.2 Life Tao. Chapter 2148. 2. Life Tao. Although that man left, he would soon realize I was heavily injured and come back to find me again. In order to kill this person myself, I found the teleportation formation and went into that icy grounds. I wanted to recover, but instead, my injuries worsened there. In order to stay alive, I could only turn my small world to a huge tree to protect my sliver of soul. Qing-Ru still sad after all these years. Yi-Emo nodded. He knew there was no 5 elements in the small world, and in order to preserve her sliver of essence spirit, it had to stay outside. What he didn't get was why that man didn't come back, and if that 9-headed void-devouring bug guy was Hong Yi-Sen. How many heads did that 9-headed void-devouring bug have? Yi-Emo asked. Qing-Ru said it had 4. Usually, if it was a truth realization state cultivator who was ambushed, he wouldn't be able to escape the space binding of the 9-headed void devouring bug. I barely broke free and barely heavily injured him. It wasn't Hong Yi-Sen indeed. Yi-Mo's heart sunk. He never heard of that guy in the cultivation realm again. Did that guy ascend to the immortal realm? If that guy only had a 4-headed 9-headed void devouring bug, it was no worry, but if his 9-headed void devouring bug reached 9 heads, it would be a huge disaster. Qing-Ru asked, "How did the ice god palace you went to turn into the ice god forbidden grounds?" Because there were frozen ice people everywhere. They looked alive, but they were frozen. It's a tragedy. Yi-Emo said, "They all died indeed." Qing-Ru murmured to herself. After a long while, Yi-Emo asked, "You probably wanted to ask a question with this story, right? Why don't you ask any more? I want to ask you a question. Where did that woman go?" Qing-Ru dazed. Seeing this, Yi-Emo said speechlessly, "Never mind. Let's not think about her. Ask your question, and I'm immediately going to the void marketplace." Qing-Ru dazed and asked with embarrassment, "Brother, I've always been spending my time in cultivation, and there are some things I don't understand. I saw that woman clearly loves the well-dressed man a lot. Why did she still cheat on him? And why did she think it was no big deal after her Tao partner knew? She didn't leave out of embarrassment for sure, but because she was slapped by the man. Is this thing not as serious as the well-dressed man thought?" Yi-Emo frowned. He didn't know how to answer these questions. He didn't understand why Qing-Ru asked him these questions. Seeing Yi-Emo frown, Qing-Ru suddenly asked, "Brother, I'll ask a simpler question. If you saw this woman, how would you look at her?" Yi-Emo sneered. "If she didn't do that to me, she's just a slut and has nothing to do with me. If she did that to me, I would kill her for sure. Is it because ever since she gave her body to that well-dressed man, she belongs to the well-dressed man? Is this what it means to be loyal?" Qing-Ru asked. Yi-Emo frowned again. He didn't know how to answer this. Qing-Ru seemed a bit strange today. She usually would never ask such questions. Seeing Yi-Emo frown again, she suddenly smiled. "Brother Yi, I believe you don't need to answer these questions for me now. I will find my own answer. Thank you." Qing-Ru walked a few steps and suddenly asked, "Brother Yi, do you think there are people who are just immortal monarch but can vindicate Tao?" Yi-Emo looked at Qing-Ru in shock and said, "If it was before, I definitely wouldn't know, but now I can tell you. There's one type of Tao that can only be vindicated at immortal monarch. I've just learned this." "Qing-Ru, why did you suddenly ask this?" Qing-Ru heard this and asked in surprise and joy, "May I ask what that Tao is?" Yi-Emo said seriously, "The Tao of life. Life law and time law are 2 completely different things. If you want to vindicate life, Tao, you must not reach Immortal Emperor. Otherwise, you would have learned Immortal Emperor Tao law and would never have the chance to vindicate life Tao." The reason Yi-Emo knew this was because the Chaos Tree rebuilt his Tao foundation and he learned life Tao. Because he had the Tree of Life, the mother of all life in the universe, he was the only one who didn't need to vindicate life Tao to understand so much about life Tao. "Brother, can you tell me about life Tao?" Qing-Ru looked passionately at Yi-Emo. Did Qing Ru want to vindicate Life Tao? Yi Mo looked at her in confusion, but said, Life Tao needs a life seed. This life seed is the fusion between the life Tao wave of someone else and your own Tao wave. Only those who have a deep understanding of life Tao can create life Tao wave. This is extremely hard. Qing Ru would need another person to give her a sliver of life Tao wave qi. Life Tao wave qi is extremely precious, and each strand contains life essence. How could people give it to her so easily? Even if they did, it wouldn't be so easy. He had the chaos tree. Although he didn't vindicate life Tao, he had life Tao wave qi. This meant that if he was willing to, he could give a sliver of life Tao wave qi to Qing Ru. Even if he was willing, he didn't want to do this. Tao wave qi is no different to having sex, but one was spiritual and one was body. Then, after the life Tao wave fuses, would it create a life seed? Qing Ru's face was burning. She sat under the bitter bamboo, next to Yi Mo, and felt his life Tao wave. Yi Mo, for some reason, had his life Tao wave qi circulating around him, and she used that moment and took a sliver of Yi Mo's life Tao wave qi. Then she accidentally let it fuse with her Tao wave qi, forming a life seed. In her consciousness, Yi Mo forcefully did something to her, but now she realized she forced something against Yi Mo. It was purely because Yi Mo was in a strange state and Yi Mo didn't know. Yi Mo looked at Qing Ru in surprise. Qing Ru, if you can find someone with life Tao wave qi and fuse it with your understanding of life Tao, perhaps you can really vindicate life Tao at Immortal Monarch. Your understanding is very great. Yi Mo paused and said, when the life seed forms, this seed would grow under the nourishment of your Tao wave. Once you read Immortal Emperor, that seed will sprout. When it completely sprouts, it will form a tree of life in your Dan Tian. If the tree of life forms, you would have successfully vindicated Tao. Yi Mo looked at Qing Ru and sighed. If it was Xiangyun or Jiangwen, and then who wanted to vindicate life Tao, he would give his Tao artifact wave qi without hesitation, but Qing Ru never mind. Seeing Yi Mo not wanting to give her life Tao wave qi, Qing Ru sighed and bowed to Yi Mo. Thank you, brother Yi. Qing Ru understand. Seeing her leave quickly, Yi Mo shook his head. He felt she asked really strange questions. It would be very hard to vindicate life Tao, but if she did, she would almost be undying. Those who were related with her would never die. This was the terror of the life Tao. Yi Mo started to look at what he got from the Tao essence, divine Emperor Demon. Yi Mo scanned in the storage ring first. There were some god, spirit, herb, and materials. There was about 10 million god crystals. For ordinary people this was a huge fortune, but Yi Mo shook his head. Then Yi Mo opened the bracelet and gasped. This Tao Essence Divine Emperor was far wealthier than even the sect leader of Du Ting God Sect. This bracelet was a huge small world. Just the god crystals stacked up to nearly 1 billion. Yi Mo for the first time saw extreme, grade god spirit range. Although there was just one broken one, its dense god spirit chi wasn't something that top-grade god spirit range could compare with. All sorts of god spirit herb and ore stacked up in mountains. Despite not having Tao fruits, Yi Mo didn't care. He lacked Tao fruits the least. Chapter 2148.3 Void Marketplace. Chapter 2148. 3. Void Marketplace. After organizing everything, Yi Mo appeared on the space-time boat again. He found in shock that there was a bright spot on the location disk. It was small, but Yi Mo could see the words Void Marketplace. He didn't expect the Golden Page world to have floated near the Void Marketplace. This saved him a few years. The extreme grade flying god artifact space-time boat brought a sliver of mark in the void. It sped up faster and faster until the golden spot became clearer and clearer. That was the Void Marketplace. Yi Mo looked inside his Golden Page world. Shaoyun and them were in solitary cultivation, so Yemo gave up the thought of calling them out. He thought that they must come out together before going in the void marketplace. Otherwise, if a few people suddenly appeared around him, people would definitely notice. At the start, people would think he had a small world. In time, they would think he had truth spirit world. The small world wasn't rare. Most powerful beings had them, but the truth spirit world was something truly rare. Even Tao Essence divine emperors didn't all have truth spirit worlds. As for 5 elements worlds, it was even more rare. Chaos worlds were something the master of a region of universe had. Thinking about this, Yemo still put the small world storage ring he got from the Du Ting God sect leader on his finger. After all, this meant he had a small world. If Shaoyin and them suddenly came out, it wasn't too out of the ordinary. This was the first time Yemo came to the void marketplace. This was the first time he saw a city as big as the void marketplace. This wasn't a city, this was a continent. Yemo was certain that if he threw the earth onto the void marketplace, it would only take a small corner. Yemo had seen many immortal city and divine Tao cities, but none was as prosperous as this. No city had this grand force like the void marketplace. Before even getting near the void marketplace, he felt the dense God spirit chi. 5 minutes later, Yemo put away the space-time boat and appeared at the entrance to the void marketplace. The void marketplace was a city that had no city walls. There were restrictions everywhere. There were formations everywhere. In front of the void marketplace, there was a boundless harbor. All sorts of large ships and flying magic artifact parked at the harbor. Ships left and entered the harbor, constantly showing just how busy and prosperous the void marketplace was. Yemo entered the void marketplace, and no one came to question him nor take God crystals. This meant that if you could come to the void marketplace, you could come in and leave whenever you wanted. This was a very free place. Yemo's spirit sense didn't scan in, and he could see there were way more immortals here than the Shadow Void Castle. There were mist figures who didn't even have human form walking around the city. There were also bleak chi ghost immortals walking on the streets. Even some tree monsters were walking in and about. Comparatively, there weren't many human beings. But races would turn their form into human form once they reached high levels of cultivation, and this made it appear that there were a lot of humans. But this was natural as the human form was more coherent with Tao. Yemo compared and found that showing himself to be a mortal emperor here wasn't too absurd. Soon he felt he started to fuse Tao waves chi. He felt his cultivation level chi gradually rise until Tao nourishment divine emperor peak stage before stopping. Yemo dazed and calmed down. His true cultivation level finally he showed in the void marketplace. He vindicated Tao in the chaos world, and his cultivation level would only show as Tao nourishment divine emperor in the chaos world. Outside, it was always a mortal emperor. This was because the outside world was broken and couldn't allow him to show his true power. Yet, when he came to the void marketplace, his chi rose to Tao nourishment divine emperor, meaning that the void marketplace was a world complete with the 5 elements. He wondered if he went back to the divine Tao realm, would his cultivation level drop back to a mortal emperor? Yemo didn't care about his chi showing to be Tao nourishment divine emperor. He never planned to hide his cultivation level. The stronger your power was here, the safer you were. But Yemo didn't know that his cultivation level rose to Tao nourishment divine emperor peak due to the chaos tree helping him rebuild his Tao foundation. He learned life Tao wave, and his Tao nourishment was more complete. Thud! A figure smashed over towards Yemo. Yemo quickly moved aside, and this figure landed before him, not moving. Yemo scanned with his spirit sense and found that this was a woman, but her life force was gone, and her essence spirit was annihilated. An extremely handsome man sneered at this dead woman and disappeared into the crowd. This man was extremely handsome, but Yemo sensed the demon chi waves from him. This was a Tao actualization, divine emperor demon. Yi Emo was shocked. Could people kill however they wanted in the void marketplace? A yellow-robed manager walked over and wanted to sweep her away when this pitiful cry sounded. Ji Min. It was a Tao molding divine emperor man who came up. The manager saw someone come over and frowned. Hurry up and move her away. Don't affect the flow on the streets. The man was very sad, but he could only take the woman's body and disappear into the crowd. Yi Emo stopped a Tao molding divine emperor human and asked, Immortal friend, can people kill freely in the void marketplace? Does no one care? This Tao molding divine emperor glanced at Yi Emo and asked, Immortal friend, you just came to the void marketplace? Yi Emo nodded. Yes, so I don't know a lot of things. The Tao molding divine emperor said that's right. You can kill people however you like in the void marketplace. The condition is that someone offended you and you have reason on your side. Otherwise, you will be punished by the void marketplace. How do you judge if you have reason for killing? Yi Emo asked. The Tao molding divine emperor laughed. Of course you invite the manager to judge. If the managers determine your friend was killed innocently, then they will seek responsibility from the killer. Yi Emo frowned. I just saw the woman die here, and the manager was here. How come the man didn't tell the manager the situation? Did they really offend the demon divine emperor? The Tao molding divine emperor sighed. Immortal friend just came to the void marketplace. You might not know. If you want the managers to speak for you, it would be on the basis that you have power. That man and woman are both Tao molding divine emperor. Only if they're mentally retarded would they offended a Tao molding divine emperor demon. Clearly, they were just casually killed. That man didn't ask the manager for help, because even if he did it would be pointless. Even if he was right, the manager wouldn't help him and the demon divine emperor would come back to kill him too. Yi Emo was speechless. In that case, there's no difference if there are managers here or not. The Tao molding divine emperor nodded. You're not wrong to say that. Yi Emo fell silent. There really was no reason anywhere. Immortal friend just came to the void marketplace. It's best you go to East Market. Humans usually stay there, but it's a bit far from the center of the void marketplace. It's a bit inconvenient. The Tao molding divine emperor said. Why is it inconvenient? As long as you were in the void marketplace, even far places weren't far. Yi Emo asked. The Tao molding divine emperor smiled. Immortal friend, there are restrictions all over the void marketplace. From the east city to the center, it would take 15 minutes. Usually, the best things appeared at the center of the city. If you can't get there immediately, you would have no chance of getting it. Thank you, immortal friend. Yi Emo thanked and then headed towards the center of the void marketplace. Seeing Yi Emo not head to the east city and find a place to live and instead go to the center, this Tao molding divine emperor shook his head and left. There were restrictions everywhere in the void marketplace, and spirit sense couldn't scan out at all. Yi Emo only realized how prosperous the city was when he came to the city center. There were restrictions everywhere in the void marketplace, and spirit sense couldn't scan out at all. Yi Emo only realized how prosperous the city was when he came to the city center. Roads of shops were on extremely wide streets. These shops belonged to all sorts of races. Yi Emo walked in a few random ones, and all the things they sold were top grade. Other than this, there were stalls that didn't have shops. They were just temporary stalls. The owner would exchange things every once in a while. Those things you couldn't find from the big shops could be found here. Yi Emo looked casually and felt that this trip to the void marketplace was worth it. No matter how many god crystals he had, he would be able to spend it all here as there were just simply too many things. Yi Emo was in no rush to go buy from the shops. He needed to find a place to stay first and find out about the environment here before he would collect the things he needed. But soon, Yemo was disappointed. He asked about all sorts of immortal rest towers, but they were all full. Even at the lobby, he could only sit in one corner as it was full. Yemo realized he thought too simply. The Void Marketplace was different to the Shadow Void Castle. People who came here lived here long term. Last 10 North Soul Herb. The stall will close after selling out. A voice Yemo heard gave him an idea. As a pill divine, he could even make Tao Actualization God pill. Yemo wasn't unfamiliar with North Soul Herb. It could be made into Tao Nourishment God pill, North Soul pill. It could empower the essence spirit of divine emperors and was very helpful to divine emperor cultivation. Many divine emperors' sea of consciousness wasn't big enough, and thus they couldn't reach higher levels. The North Soul pill could empower essence spirit and expand one's sea of consciousness. This pill was very hard to concoct, and many people bought the herb not to concoct the pill, but just to eat it. Direct consumption had much less effect, but it was better than nothing. If even North Soul herb could be turned into North Soul pill, then even if there was just one herb, it would cause powerful beings to fight over it. It was a Tao Actualization divine emperor selling the North Soul herb. He had no beast immortal chi, but Yemo could tell this Tao Actualization divine emperor came from the beast race. Yemo went up and saluted with his fists, immortal friend. What would happen to the stall after you finish selling? The beast divine immediately knew what Yemo meant and said, the stall positions aren't as sought after as the immortal rest tower, but it's not something easy to obtain. If you buy my 10 North Soul herbs, I will give the stall to you without taking a transition fee. Yemo wasn't after the stall, but the room behind the stall. This room was a temporary stay for the stall owner. Yemo just needed a place to stay. Are there no procedures to do? Yemo asked in confusion. The beast divine laughed. I can tell it's your first time at the Void Marketplace. Look, there's a rink on the door of the room behind me. It's a teleportation formation rink. If you just put your rent there every year, it will be fine. My rent is 10 million God crystals a year. My rental period is about to be up. If you buy my North Soul herbs and then put 10 million God crystals in before the month ends, you can extend the lease for a year. It's that simple. Yemo asked in disbelief. He was in disbelief at how cheap the rent was. Yes, it's that simple. The divine emperor said. Yemo felt that there were some things the beast divine didn't tell him, but he didn't have time to find the loophole, so he could only say, I'll take the North Soul herbs. How many God crystals? 5 million God crystals for one, 10 for 50 million. Plus, I'll transfer the stall to you for free. Otherwise, it would be a few million transition fees. The Tao Actualization divine emperor said. Yemo knew it wasn't expensive, but that was only to him as he could turn the North Soul herb to North Soul pills. For others, this price was way too high. Give me the stall, and I'll give you 20 million for the 10 herbs. If you agree, then deal. If not, never mind. Yemo said, Deal. The divine emperor took out a stall jade card without hesitation and gave the 10 herbs to Yemo. Yemo had the feeling he was being tricked. He didn't seem to understand the price of things here, but even so, Yemo didn't regret. He gave the Tao Actualization divine emperor 20 million God crystals. The divine emperor took the God crystals and smiled at Yemo. That jade card is the card for the stall. Perhaps you will get rich here. Then, the Tao Actualization divine emperor left. Yemo frowned and put these things away. Yemo didn't keep the stall. He set up some restriction in the room behind the stall. Just when Yemo wanted to set up the restriction, an extremely skinny figure came over. He wore a black cloth on his face. Yemo immediately recognized who this person was. When he was at the Divine Tao realm, he sold a God Heartstone before going to the Mu Hua God Mountain. This person bought it. Yemo didn't see his cultivation level at the time, but this person is actually Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. However, it wasn't stable. It's you. The skinny man clearly recognized who Yemo was and said in shock. He didn't expect that little immortal emperor at Mu Hua God Mountain suddenly became a Tao nourishment divine emperor. He immediately guessed that Yemo definitely hid his cultivation level. Otherwise, there was no way he reached Tao nourishment divine emperor in a few hundred years. You're setting up a stall here? The skinny man asked. Before Yemo could reply, a sneer sounded. A tall Tao actualization, divine emperor woman chased over. The skinny man took out a jade box and threw it to her. You can have it. Just give me back my god crystals. The woman took the jade box and threw out a storage bag to the man and sneered, Count yourself lucky. Seeing the woman leave, the skinny man saluted with his fists. Immortal friend is really talented in business. You were selling God Heartstone at the Mu Hua God Mountain, and now you're having a stall. Yemo smiled. When I was setting up a stall, you seem to have been hunted. Now you're still being hunted. The skinny man dazed and said awkwardly, I didn't expect you to be able to tell I was being hunted. Keen eyes. I still have keen eyes now. Yemo took out a few immortal artifacts and put them on the stall. The man glanced at these immortal artifacts and laughed. Your eyes really aren't keen now. I would rather compensate people, God crystals, just to stay because we came from the same place. So I'll give you a few words of advice. Tell me, if it's really words of advice, I'll listen to you. Yemo put a few bottles of immortal pills on the side. You really sell a lot of things. The skinny man laughed and continued. Did the original owner of the price say the stall was very cheap and only costs 10 million God crystals a year? Yemo asked in confusion, is it not? The man gave an I knew it face and said, that's right, the rent is indeed only 10 million God crystals a year. But there are other things too. There are some people who often come here to collect some payments. These payments are the total of your yearly profits. Of course, the main thing is that I know your stall can't be rented. What do you mean? Yemo frowned and asked. I came past here a few days ago and saw a beast race Tao actualization divine emperor kill another Tao actualization divine emperor and rob their things. The skinny man laughed at Yemo. I came past here a few days ago and saw a beast race Tao actualization divine emperor kill another Tao actualization divine emperor and rob their things. The skinny man laughed at Yemo. Yemo looked at this skinny man in disbelief. The stalls here can be robbed? The void marketplace doesn't care about these things? What do you think? The skinny Tao actualization divine emperor sneered. Yemo's heart sunk. He looked around at the other stalls. He thought of many things, but didn't expect there to be such absurdity. The stall he rented could be robbed. If it was like that, who would want to rent? But these stalls were all rented out. There were none left. Then wouldn't those weak cultivation-leveled people be unable to set up stall? Yemo was disappointed. There was no point in renting such a stall. No matter how powerful he was, he wouldn't dare to state that he could hold a stall position. The skinny man smiled yes and no. See, there's a Tao molding divine emperor over there having a stall. He's doing very well. The stall fees here aren't expensive, but if you don't have someone backing you up, you can't last long. Many people just set up stall for a few days. If someone robs them, they would just give it away. Usually, people wouldn't find an excuse to kill you that way. Other than this, there's another way. That is, if you pay God crystals for someone to protect you. Usually, it costs about 1 to 200 million. Yemo took in a cold breath. That amount would make any Tao Essence Divine Emperor unable to sit relaxed, much less other people. So some people sell their things out as quickly as possible when they rob a stall, and then give it away. The skinny man smiled. Yemo sighed and saluted with his fists. Thanks for your reminder. I'll just give the stall away if someone comes here. If it's some other stall, you can do that, but not for the stall. If you keep renting it, you might disappear from this world forever the next day. The skinny man said. Yi Mo's eyes frowned. Make him disappear forever? Not even Tao Essence, Divine Emperor, can do that. The original owner of this stall is called Wan Feijian. He's a Tao actualization Divine Emperor. He was killed and robbed by that beast race Divine Emperor. Perhaps the beast race Divine Emperor even sold his things to you. So what? Wan Feijian has a sister called Wan Tong Tong. She's ranked in top 300 of the God rank. What do you think? Yi Mo wasn't very worried. He even killed a Tao Essence Divine Emperor. How could he be scared of a Tao actualization Divine Emperor? He didn't kill Wan Jianfei. Even if he did, he wouldn't care about Wan Tong Tong. No matter how powerful she was only a first step Divine Emperor. It seems you're not very worried. The skinny man was a bit confused seeing Yi Mo being so calm. Yi Mo said plainly, "What do I need to worry about? I have nowhere to stay, so I can only live here." Hearing out this guy, Yi Mo realized that he didn't need to worry about Wan Tong Tong, but the guys collecting fees from him. These guys would probably have ties to the Void Marketplace. Would it affect him if things went sour? He came to the Void Marketplace for opportunity. He didn't want to leave so quickly. Hearing this, the skinny man smiled. "Don't worry about not having a place to stay. If you don't mind, you can stay with me. I'm Tang Xiaoyu. I wonder if Yi Mo's is your real name." "I'm Yi Mo, but I don't like living in the same room with a random female." Yi Mo set up the last restriction on his stall and said casually. Hearing this, Tang Xiaoyu's face burned. "You can tell I'm a woman?" Yi Mo glanced at her and said, "I believe I'm not the only one who knows. Don't have too much confidence in your mask nor your stealth cultivation method. This means you not only saw I'm a woman, but I'm also not human." Tang Xiaoyu's tone went cold. Yi Mo couldn't be bothered talking to her. He walked in the room behind the stall and was going to set up restrictions there. Even if he was to give the stall away, it would be after he made some money here. Tang Xiaoyu followed Yi Mo into the room and said, "That's right. I'm a woman, and I'm not human. But that doesn't affect us collaborating. I have some good things that I want to use your stall to sell. And even if that one Tong Tong comes, I can help you a bit." Yi Mo turned around and looked at her. "First, I don't need your help. Second, my stall won't sell your shitty things." Yi Mo realized her intention. Perhaps what she said was true, but her main purpose was probably to scare him off and use this stall for a few days. Tang Xiaoyu sneered, "If my things are shitty, then your immortal pills and immortal artifact are good things? Oh, I saw you take out a top-grade immortal artifact. That would definitely get the people in the Void Marketplace fighting over it." Yi Mo said calmly, "That's just the things to hold my stall. In a few days, I will be selling top-grade Flying God Artifact, top-grade Attack God Artifact, Refined Heart Pill, North Soul Pill, God Cloud Pill. Do you have these? If you do, then put it up." Tang Xiaoyu was scared by Yi Mo's words. After long, while she laughed as though she heard the greatest joke, Yi Mo didn't explain and casually waved out a top-grade Flying God Artifact and a Refined Heart Pill. After she saw it, Yi Mo put it away again. "What? You really have these things?" Even Tang Xiaoyu was shocked. "What do you think?" Yi Mo smiled at her. Tang Xiaoyu dazed and quickly saluted with her fists to Yi Mo. "Immortal friend, if you really have these pills, I'm willing to help you and be your sales assistant. I just want 20%. 20%, do you think I'm dumb? You just need to help look after my stall, and you're going to take 20%? How can you say such things?" Yi Mo studied Tang Xiaoyu from up to down. Tang Xiaoyu was uncomfortable being stared like that and quickly said, "Then 10%. I still need to risk helping you fight. It's not that easy to guard a Void Marketplace stall." Yi Mo thought for a long while before saying, "Okay, but you must tell me which race you're from. Otherwise, I don't feel so sure." "I'm from the Phoenix race." Tang Xiaoyu hesitated for a while and said, Where is the Phoenix race? Do you have a map? Yemo asked. What do you want? Tang Xiaoyu immediately became vigilant and stared at Yemo with enmity. He was asking about the realm her race was at. Yemo frowned. I'm just curious about some other races. Do you have to be like this? Your attitude makes it hard for me to cooperate with your wholeheartedly. Tang Xiaoyu heard this and hesitated for a while before saying, I definitely won't tell you where my race is, but I know where the dragon race is. You're just curious anyways. It's the same. Deal. Yemo showed a big sly smile. He never planned to ask her where her race was. He guessed she was from a beast race, and in that case she might know where the dragon race is. Tang Xiaoyu immediately gave the dragon race's location to Yemo. How come I feel you don't have good intentions? Yemo didn't answer to that and took out a bottle of refined heart pill. This is a bottle of refined heart pill. There's 12 inside. Go sell it first. Tang Xiaoyu grabbed it and immediately forgot about what she was going to ask. She dashed out and said, Don't worry, we'll be earning huge. 5 minutes later, the entire center of the Void marketplace erupted. On a small stall in the Void marketplace, there was refined heart pill for sale. It was even extreme grade refined heart pill. The price for one was 5 million god crystals. This was a huge price, but it still couldn't stop the flock of people. Tang Xiaoyu soon realized that the price she named was too low. Even at 5 million price, people still fought over for the 12 refined heart pills. Tang Xiaoyu soon realized that the price she named was too low. Even at 5 million price, people still fought over for the 12 refined heart pills. The main ingredient for the pill wasn't expensive, but the reason the pill was so expensive was because the refined heart pill was too hard to concoct. Even Tao Nourishment Pill Divine might not be able to concoct. This was something only Tao Actualization Pill Divines could concoct. One Tao Actualization Divine Emperor just attacked Tang Xiaoyu. In her desperation, Tang Xiaoyu yelled, Whoever kills the first guy who attacked me, I will sell the first pill to him. Before she finished, For God Arts landed on this Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. The Tao Actualization Divine Emperor spat a mouthful of essence blood and fled. Tang Xiaoyu breathed easy and sold 4 pills to these 4 people. Seeing more and more people come, Tang Xiaoyu could only speed up and sell the remaining 8 pills. Immortal friends, the 12 refined heart pills have been sold today. Please leave. Tang Xiaoyu's words caused more ruckus. Yemo walked out and patted her shoulder. You're not good at doing business. Collaborating with you isn't worth it. Move aside, let me speak. Tang Xiaoyu wanted to argue, but seeing the raging crowd, she couldn't say anything. Yemo walked out and saluted with his fists. Immortal friends, everyone probably knows that I'm a pill divine. As a pill divine, I came to the Void marketplace to earn god crystals. But more so, I want to help everyone. Otherwise, the pills I sell wouldn't just be for 5 million god crystals. Now, please quiet down, everyone. If I'm disappointed, then I would rather not have this stall and leave immediately. I believe with my capabilities, I can get god crystals anywhere. Yemo regretted a lot. Tang Xiaoyu called the price too low. Otherwise, they would have earned more, but since she already named a price, increasing it wouldn't benefit his sales tactics. He could only use her price, but he was going to get this difference through other means. Hearing this, the crowd immediately calmed down. A top pill divine finally came to the Void marketplace. If he was pissed and turned to leave, no one would benefit from this. Tang Xiaoyu couldn't help but to admire Yemo. His means were too effective. People calmed down with one word from him, but she made the scene so chaotic. Yemo smiled. Today, the 12 refined heart pills are half selling, half for free. The main thing is to let people know that I have a stall here called. Yemo paused and suddenly waved out the words, Luo Yu Pill Forgery Divine Tower. Now that everyone knows this price, we'll be selling according to normal price tomorrow. Are the prices being raised? There were all sorts of voices again. People here were extremely wealthy, but no one wanted to see the price raise. Yi Emo quickly waved his hands. Immortal friends, what are you talking about? Of course the price will still be sold according to 5 million god crystals. Before everyone could breathe easy, Emo said, of course, I don't do a losing business. The 5 million today is my pill concoction fees. As for the material fee, I didn't take any. Immortal friends, as a pill divine, I'm helping people concoct pills. If I don't even take materials, then wouldn't I lose so much? So tomorrow the price will be 5 million a pill and plus a set of materials. Without materials, don't blame me for not selling pills. Tang Xiaoyu thought, this Yi Mo was a cunning old bastard. He was increasing the price shamelessly, but still proclaiming he was helping people. Using materials and paying for a pill wasn't just as simple as adding the price. If Tang Xiaoyu could think of this, of course everyone else could too. Discussions heated up again. Pill divine, if I want to buy refined heart pill, but I can't find refined heart immortal spirit herb, then I wouldn't be able to buy it. Yi Emo waved his hand. Of course, that's not the case. If you can take out material higher level than the refined heart herb, then I'll sell the pill to you first. For example, you gave me the 9-star bamboo, then not only would I sell a refined heart pill, I might even sell you a Tao star pill to you. Pill divine master, you can even concoct Tao star pill. Someone asked in shock. Yi Emo laughed. Tao star pill is nothing. As long as you can take out the best god spirit herbs, I can concoct the best god pills for you. Even if you take out Tao fruits, I can concoct Tao pills for you. Yi Emo came here to get rich, and only by keeping a high profile would he be able to do that. He knew this might get him killed, but Yi Emo couldn't care. He lacked these cultivation resources. You can even concoct Tao pills. More shocked voices sounded. Tao pills were made using Tao fruits and was more suitable than the refined star pill to learn about Tao. Yi Mo's cultivation level was limited and thus couldn't concoct any high-level Tao pill, but Yi Mo said this to prevent Tao fruits from slipping past. If he got a Tao fruit, he might really be able to concoct Tao pills. Plus, most Tao fruits didn't need to be concocted into pills. It could be consumed directly. Yi Mo laughed. Let's not talk about Tao pills yet. Tomorrow not only would there all sorts of god pills, but there would also be top-grade god artifact. If you can take out the best forgery materials, I can give you the best god artifacts. No one believed a pill divine was a forgery divine, but they hoped what Yi Mo said was true. That way, they would be able to get what they wanted. To prevent people from asking, Yi Mo said, the deals end here today. Immortal friends, please go back to prepare materials. I'll state this again. Tomorrow, whoever has the highest level material will get the highest priority in dealing. Hearing this, everyone left clearly to prepare materials. There were many materials and herbs in the void marketplace, but people who could turn them into the best god artifact and god pill were much rarer. Although many Tao Essence Divine Emperor have quite a few extreme grade god artifact, but they were collected over the many years, some passed down from ancient times. Some were purely stacked up with materials by using 10 times the amount of materials normally needed. Compared to top grade and extreme grade god artifact, there were much more middle grade and low grade god artifact. Seeing Yi Mo casually set up formation in front of the stall, Tang Xiaoyu asked worriedly, Yi Mo, what if a lot of people come and you can't give out that many god pills? You worry too much. Yi Mo said. He came here to get rich, no matter how tiring it would be. He would make enough god pill and god artifact. When Yi Mo and Tang Xiaoyu were discussing the things tomorrow, 2 Tao Actualization Divine Emperor Peak stages came before Yi Mo's stall. According to your income today, you need to pay 12 million protection fees. The two said, Tang Xiaoyu sound transmission to Yi Mo. There are many of these people. They're probably related to the void marketplace. After we pay them god crystals, there will be others coming to ask for god crystals. Yi Emo nodded and signaled her not to worry. He then looked at the 2 Tao Actualization Divine Emperor and said, "Are you too sure you want to collect my God crystals?" The 2 Tao Actualization Divine Emperor's faces went cold. "You're setting up a stall in the Void Marketplace. Paying God crystals is what you should do. Do you not want to pay?" Yi Emo suddenly yelled at the street. "Some people are forcing me to leave immediately. If any immortal friends want to lead and kick these 2 away, you don't have to bring materials to buy my God pills or God artifacts." As soon as Yi Emo said this, a huge palm came over, and the 2 Tao Actualization Divine Emperors were palmed away. As soon as Yi Emo said this, a huge palm came over, and the 2 Tao Actualization Divine Emperors were palmed away. Yi Emo, who was supposed to be happy, took in a cold breath. He didn't expect even Tao Essence Divine Emperor attacked. He wasn't scared of Tao Essence Divine Emperor, but did he dare to use all his means in the Void Marketplace? Seeing it was a Tao Essence Divine Emperor, the 2 Tao Actualization Divine Emperor didn't dare to say a thing and quickly left. "I heard you could concoct Tao Star Pills." The Tao Essence Divine Emperor walked up to Yi Emo's stall. Yi Emo thought Tao Essence Divine Emperor indeed wouldn't help for no reason. Of course, he could concoct Tao Star Pills. He already concocted a cauldron of them. He concocted them to help Mu Xiaoyan break through to Divine Emperor. But this Tao Essence Divine Emperor probably wanted to use the Tao Star Pill to learn Astral Space God Art. "That's right, I can," Yi Emo said without hesitation. If this Tao Essence Divine Emperor didn't bring out 9-star bamboo, he wasn't going to give his own Tao Star Pill to him. If this Tao Essence Divine Emperor really took out a 9-star bamboo, he would help concoct a cauldron. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor took out a jade box and threw it on Yi Emo's stall. "This is a 9-star bamboo. I'll come pick up the pill tomorrow." Yi Emo opened it and saw it was a 9-star bamboo indeed. He immediately said happily, "Pill concoction fees 5 million God crystals. 6 pills produced." "Sure." The Tao Essence Divine Emperor took out a storage bag to Yi Emo and said, "This is 5 million God crystals." He wasn't scared of Yi Emo taking things and leaving it all. He immediately turned to leave. Yi Emo took this and sighed. Pill Divine was indeed amazing. He got 6 Tao Star Pills and 5 million God crystals so easily. He had to be careful, though. He wasn't scared of 1 Tao Essence Divine Emperor, but if a bunch came, he wouldn't fare very well. Plus, in a place like the Void Marketplace, who knew if there was no Primordial Essence Divine Emperor? When Tang Xiaoyu came to Yi Emo's stall the next day, she found it was filled with people. Yi Emo didn't even come out yet. She scanned her spirit sense into the house behind the stall and found her spirit sense was bounced back from very far. Tang Xiaoyu was shocked with Yi Emo's formation skills. Seeing Tang Xiaoyu come over, the crowd immediately separated and let her in. Tang Xiaoyu just came back to the stall, and Yi Emo came out of the house. "Pill Divine, Yi is here. Everyone be quiet." Someone already said before Yi Emo said anything. They even found out Yi Emo's name. Yi Emo saw many people with a confident look and immediately knew he was going to get very wealthy today. Yi Emo saw more than 1 Tao Essence Divine Emperor, but none of them were human. Clearly, the human race's power was far weaker than other races in the Void Marketplace. "Is it ready?" A plain voice sounded. Clearly, it was the Tao Essence Divine Emperor from yesterday. The tone was plain, but Yi Emo could hear a sliver of desperation. Yi Emo knew that these Tao Star Pills definitely had very important use for this Tao Essence Divine Emperor. "It's done here." Yi Emo threw out a jade bottle. The Tao Essence Divine Emperor took the bottle and opened the bottle lid. When he smelled the aroma and saw the 6 extreme grade Tao Star Pills, his face immediately became excited. "Very good, it's very good." The Tao Essence Divine Emperor said and disappeared. Seeing this Tao Essence Divine Emperor leave, Yemo went up and saluted with his fists immortal friends. Today I will be selling 1 top-grade Flying God artifact, 2 top-grade Attack God artifact, 12 Refined Heart pills, 12 North Soul pills, 12 God Wind pills, 1 Tao Star pill. These God pills are all extreme grade. As soon as Yemo said this, the scene erupted. Even divine emperors couldn't contain themselves. Immortal friends, I hope everyone can say the things they're going to trade, and then I'll judge and order based on what everyone has. Even if everything is sold, immortal friends will still have an opportunity. Please keep calm. Yemo said with a smile. People would be remembered for exposing their items, but Yemo couldn't care. After taking all these things, he would be remembered even more. Since people were seeking fortune, they had to take such risk. Pill Divine Yi, I have a blood sea heaven ice. I want to buy top grade Flying God artifact. I'll use Scorch Abyssal Herb to buy North Soul pill. I have an essence breaking spirit Lu. I just want God Wind pill. Yemo heard this and was very happy. He wanted all of these things. Even if he would be remembered, he wouldn't care. He immediately said, Xiaoyu, trade the Scorch Abyssal Herb first. This was something used to concoct Tao Abyssal Pill. It was a god pill for Abyssal race to learn Tao. Yemo needed this as he was planning to deal with Abyssal race. Piles of god crystals, top materials, and god spirit herbs were all gathered by Yemo, but more and more people came. Eventually, Yemo just started pill concoction on the spot. Those with top god spirit herb or chaos spirit herbs were all taken. However, Yemo didn't concoct pills on the stall, but in the room. After another day, Yemo's name was like sun in the sky. The news of his stall spread through the entire Void marketplace. Everyone knew Yemo was Pill Divine, but he didn't forge artifacts, so he wasn't famous for that. Those who didn't get God pills knew it was pointless to stay here and left to collect the best God spirit herb and forgery materials. This Pill Divine, Ye's appetite was getting bigger and bigger. He didn't even take ordinary God spirit herbs. A day later, seeing people leave the stall, Tang Xiaoyu breathed easy. In just a day, she calculated that Yemo earned nearly 1 billion God crystals, and she got 100 million. She was certain that even robbery didn't get you God crystals this fast. Comparatively, Yemo earned more God spirit herb and materials, but he didn't give a share of this to her. May I ask if the Pill Divine Qianbei is called Yemo? Just when Tang Xiaoyu was thinking if tomorrow would be like today, a careful voice asked. Tang Xiaoyu didn't even look up and said, That's right, what do you need? Show me your herbs or materials first. No, we're Pill Divine Ye's friends. A red-faced Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor smiled. Tang Xiaoyu looked up. She knew that Yemo just came to Void Marketplace. How could he have friends? So it's Brother Xinyu, Brother Xin, and Goddess Being. Please come in. Yemo came out of the room with a smile. So it's old friends, please come in. Tang Xiaoyu immediately acted polite, seeing they really were friends of Yemo. Brother Yi, I knew you were fine, haha. Xian Yushua walked in and laughed. I was lucky. Yemo didn't want to talk much about the Demon Divine and gave a jade bottle to Gu Being. Goddess Being, this is what I promised you. Gu Being took the pills excitedly. Thank you, Brother Yi. Brother Yi, I have something to tell you. I heard the God Rank Master, Wan Tong Tong, is back. She said she wasn't going to let you go. Xian Yushua said, Yemo didn't care. What happened to her brother has nothing to do with me unless she's being unreasonable. Yemo didn't worry about her not being reasonable. He was famous in the Void marketplace now. Even if he wasn't going to be scared of a Tao actualization divine emperor. Seeing that Yemo didn't care, and thinking about how Yemo could escape from Tao Essence, Demon Divine. Xian Yushua didn't say much. They chatted for a while, and the three bid them farewell. Seeing that Yemo didn't care, and thinking about how Yemo could escape from Tao Essence, Demon Divine. Xian Yushua didn't say much. They chatted for a while, and the three bid them farewell. After Tang Xiaoyu left too, another man came to Yemo's place. He had long gray hair, and even his face was gray. Yemo seemed to only have Tao nourishment cultivation level, but he could see the origin of ordinary people. However, Yemo could tell what this race was. He only knew that this person was Tao Essence power. The power of his God Essence was no weaker than the demon divine he killed. Seeing Yemo not talk, the gray-robed Tao Essence Divine Emperor saluted with his fists and said, "Void Marketplace Merchant Tower Xing, Hungreet Pil Divine." Void Marketplace Merchant Tower? Yemo repeated in confusion. He just came to the Void Marketplace and didn't really understand the place. Xing Hong nodded seriously and said, "Yes, Void Marketplace Merchant Tower. It's the biggest dealing grounds in the Void Marketplace. There was first the Merchant Tower, then the Void Marketplace. A very long time ago, the Void Marketplace was just a floating astral domain. After the Void Marketplace, Merchant Tower built the first Merchant Tower here. It eventually developed to the Void Marketplace." Yemo realized what this meant. The Void Marketplace Merchant Tower was probably the strongest in the Void Marketplace. Yemo greet immortal friends Xing Hong. "What business do you have with me?" Yemo knew that people would come to him after he showed his pill concoction skills. He just didn't expect it to be this fast. Seeing Yemo be so direct, Xing Hong said, "Pill Divine Yi is actually a top pill divine that reached the door to Tao Essence Pill Divine. This is unique even in the Void Marketplace. The strongest pill divine of our Merchant Tower is only a Tao Actualization Pill Divine. Pill Divine Yi is at the same level as our Pill Divine. The Merchant Tower greatly admires that." Yemo sneered. Same level bullshit. He was certain that even if that Tao Actualization Pill Divine could concoct Tao Actualization God pills, he would have pitiful success rate. Otherwise, the Void Marketplace wouldn't do such good business? Seeing my not answer, Xing Hong knew that Yemo didn't consider the Tao Actualization Pill Divine of their Merchant Tower seriously. But reality was so indeed. Their Tao Actualization Pill Divine was not on the same level at all compared to Yemo. Pill Divine, with your pill concoction skills, there's hope of reaching Tao Essence Pill Divine. But if your cultivation level can't reach Tao Essence, then it would be very hard to concoct Tao Essence God pills, Xing Hong said. Yemo smiled. "Immortal friend Xing, the path of cultivation is slow. Some things come slowly. I believe if I spend time, I would eventually reach Tao Essence." Xing Hong's expressionless face finally showed some emotion. "Pill Divine, that's right, but in a place like the Void Marketplace, power is everything. People might attack you at any time. Only once you have power do you have the right to speak. I came here to do a deal with Pill Divine. Pill Divine, you will concoct pills for the Void Marketplace Merchant Tower, and will give Pill Divine ye a spot to go into the Tao Fruit Tower. We also promise to be Pill Divine ye's backup, and at least in the Void Marketplace, no one would dare to touch Pill Divine." "Tao Fruit Tower?" Yemo asked in confusion. Xing Hong looked at Yemo's expression and knew he was a noob. He said calmly, "Do you know why the Void Marketplace is so prosperous? Of course, it's partially due to a lot of powerful beings and wealthy divine emperors coming here to deal, but another reason is the Tao Fruit Tower. In the endless void between realms, there's a Chaos Tower called Tao Fruit Tower. This Chaos Tower has 9 levels, and each level has a Tao Fruit Tree. Level 5 is a Purple Heaven Tao Fruit Tree. As a Pill Divine, you would know the use of the Purple Heaven Tao Fruit, right? It can let Tao Nourishment Divine Emperor learn Tao Waves and find their opportunity to reach Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. If that's not attractive enough, then I believe any Divine Emperor below Tao Essence can't reject the Qian Essence, Tao Fruit of Level 7. that can allow people to learn Tao essence, Tao wave. Xing Hong's words made Yi Mo take in a cold breath. No wonder there were so many divine emperors in the void marketplace. But Yi Mo knew that relying on the Tao fruits to progress wasn't suitable for him. His Tao was chaos Tao. He could use Tao fruits to fuse into his God art, but he wouldn't use the Tao fruits to purely break through his Tao. Is there some limitation to go in the Tao fruit tower? Yi Mo asked. Xing Hong heard Yi Mo ask and knew Yi Mo was probably interested. He smiled and said, "There's 999 spots to enter the Tao fruit tower. Everyone on the God rank can enter. There's 499 spots remaining to be divided by the races. We Void Marketplace Merchant Tower have 10 spots." Yi Mo was surprised. He knew that Void Marketplace Merchant Tower's power level was probably the top at the Void Marketplace, but even they only had 10 spots. Yi Mo subconsciously asked, "How many spots does the human race have?" "Human race has no spots right now," Xing Hong said plainly. He was going to let Yi Mo understand how precious one spot was. Yi Mo's heart sunk. Human race was definitely a big race, but they didn't even have a spot. No wonder the divine Tao realm was so broken and no one spoke up. Why does the human race have no spots? Yi Mo asked. Xing Hong explained nicely. When the human race divine Tao realm was broken and human primordial essence divine emperors disappeared, they have no power in the void marketplace. As for Tao Fruit Tower, it's a place where power speaks. Without power, of course you have no right to get into the Tao Fruit Tower. However, the human race does have someone going in. There's 2 humans on the God rank. They have the right to enter the Tao Fruit Tower. How to get on the God rank? Yi Mo fell silent for a while and suddenly asked. Xing Hong thought Yi Mo wanted to get a spot from the God rank and said, "Seriously, everyone on there is at least a peak stage master of the first step of Tao vindication. Even if they fight a Tao essence divine emperor, they might not get killed. Pill divine Yi, it's not that I look down on you, but as a Tao actualization pill divine, you're already at the peak of divine emperor. You're walking a different path to others. You don't need to use cultivation power to prove yourself." Seeing Yi Mo not talk after all that, Xing Hong could only continue. The God rank is decided based on the tournament before the Tao Fruit Tower opens. What if someone defeats a God rank master at other times? Yi Mo asked. The divine tablet of the Void Marketplace would automatically replace the defeated with the victor's name. Xing Hong said. Yi Mo nodded and asked after a while, "Immortal friend Xing, is the Tao Fruit Tower is about to open?" Xing Hong quickly said, "No, there's still more than 100 years before it opens, but we can give it to you now." Yi Mo smiled, "Then we'll discuss when the Tao Fruit Tower opens." Xing Hong, "Pill divine, Yi, if the Tao Fruit Tower opens, the spots would be more sought after. I don't know if I could get any then. Not a rush. Who can be sure of what happens 100 years later?" Yi Mo didn't plan to use Tao fruit to break through, but even if he didn't plan to use a spot 100 or so years later to do this deal. Seeing Yi Mo really not interested in the Tao Fruit Tower, Xing Hong said desperately, "Pill divine Yi, even if you don't want the spot, you still need a powerful backup to keep having a stall here. Otherwise, I'm certain people would be looking for your trouble tomorrow. Even that Wan Tong Tong wouldn't be easy to deal with." Yi Mo nodded. "I believe that, so I've decided to stop the stall tomorrow. That way, people wouldn't have a reason to look for my trouble." Yi Mo didn't expect the prophet of the first day to be this terrifying. If he continued, people would definitely come for his trouble. Xing Hong dazed. He didn't expect Yi Mo really intending to stop. If Yi Mo leaves the void marketplace, where would he find such a powerful pill divine? If he didn't have to, Xing Hong really didn't want to force Yi Mo. Pill divine. Yi is a pill concoction grandmaster. Have you heard of Light Heart? Xing Hong finally took out his trump card. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.